Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good morning, everybody. Well, a happy Football Friday. That's right. It is a Football Friday as we hang out. The Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Go to TrueMark.com/PHLY to find the credit union difference. So we're live actually in our living area of our PHLY palatial studios today. We got a lot of fun. So we have a big group of Eagles fans from across the pond. So our friends from the UK are going to join us. They come in, the Philly Sports Trips host this whole big thing. And I love, the Eagles fans. I you know me about manifest destiny. I want to take over the world. So, in fact, we got a bunch of guys from England and Ireland who are rabid Eagles fans. And I love this, how you become an American football fan and an Eagles fan like us. So we're going to be joined by a bunch of guys. They're going to come in. We got a busy show for you. We'll get you going. Fran Duffy will join us today to talk about the big story, which is Eagles and Jaguars, and the return of Dougie P. That's right. Doug Pederson comes into town. And, listen, my heart goes out to Dougie P because he's probably going to be replaced as coach of the Jags. He may not last the whole season. Things are going bad in Jacksonville. They have a late bye, so there's a couple weeks. They still have to play the Eagles. They have to play the Vikings. They got a tough road. I don't know that Dougie survives. If he does, he probably will not be back next year. And it's a good day to kind of lift up an old friend, right? An old friend going through some tough times. Doug Pederson was one of the central characters from the Super Bowl, right? Whether it's Philly special, Philly, let's do it. When Nick Foles says that whole year, everything Doug did he rolled sevens, man. He was hot. He was terrific. Everything he did, go for it on fourth downs. As much as we used to say, I don't know, man, you're going for it too much. It worked. Everything came up roses this Super Bowl year. And he becomes one of those beloved figures that we'll always remember. He'll go down in the annals of Philadelphia sports as this beloved figure who won the Eagles' first Super Bowl. So here he comes back. So it's a good day to kind of lift our former friend, Dougie P., who is a great guy. I mean, I don't think he was Lombardi as a head coach, but good guy. And again, he won the Super Bowl, man, and he had a lot to do with it. That team was magical, and they came together, and he promoted that closeness. So I think it's a good weekend. It's Kelly Green weekend. It's a whole big party, I think. The Eagles are a big favorite. They should win easily. So we'll dive into it with Fran coming up, the X's and O's. Big game tomorrow, Penn State, Ohio State. Everybody's got to be a Penn State fan. Listen, I'm a Temple guy, all right? So I've never been a huge Penn State guy. I like this team, and we hate Ohio State. Chip Kelly is the OC. Ryan Day is this smarmy college football coach. We got to be all in on Penn State. I am. I'm all about it. So we'll talk to our buddy, Adam Taliaferro, Mr. Penn State, Mr. Nittany Lion. We'll be talking to him about the game. The Brain will join us. Mike Garafolo from NFL Network will join us. Baldy, we'll have a visit from our Rothman Docs. Busy show. We got a new cheesesteak joint that we're going to try that has these steaks from using Wagyu beef. So it's going to be, look at the face. Yeah, it's going to be we got a busy stuff, a lot to do today. And last night, let us not forget the Flyers last night. Ersan played really well. That was a really good game for Ersan last night. Blues peppered him at times. He made some big saves. Flyers, how about it, man? Garnet Hathaway gets it started. And, of course, Bobby Brink late with the game winner, and the Flyers beat the Blues 2-1 on the same night that Cutter Gauthier blows a game giveaway, and he blows a game for the Ducks. So we love that as well. That's another piece of it. So that's really, really good. But it's about Eagles and Jacksonville and Kelly Green and the return of Doug Pederson, VG, my main man, cohort. This is something that's going to be a lot of fun because we get to welcome back Dougie P. And Dougie P is one of our dear friends. I mean, let's face it, you don't win the Super Bowl without Dougie P.
Love Dougie P, dude. I'm excited to see him. He always makes me smile and feel good when I see his face. Yeah, it feels good.
Well,
I feel for him, like you said.
You know what? I do too. Like, it's one of those deals where he's going through it. I mean, he's almost having a repeat. It's a shame because Trevor Lawrence, who I loved, I thought was going to be a can't-miss prospect,
dude,
has struggled.
Stinks, kind of, and he's so overpaid. That contract's brutal.
And you had to do it, right? Like, if you got a real quarterback prospect, you got to go all in. I remember, man, when I'm watching him at Clemson, there's nothing he couldn't do.
No, sunshine, man.
I mean, he throws a beautiful ball, can make every throw.
Yep.
He was mobile. I don't know.
He had good hair. He just looked like a quarterback. He looked like a stud.
He did. Yeah. He did, and it's been a flop, right?
Yeah.
He played bad decisions. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of reminiscent of Wentz a little bit.
Totally reminiscent
right?
of Wentz.
Like, the
Wentz
bad
was actually
decision.
better, I feel like. He had a string where he was better.
Well, Lawrence had a couple great, like the second year was really good.
Yeah, you think like Wentz, like 2017?
Yeah, he was really good. But here's the thing. He made some bad decisions in the same way. And I wonder, I hate to say this, is it Dougie? Is he not that good at developing quarterbacks?
No, don't say that.
Well,
no, I'll tell you who it is. It's his main man, Press Taylor. That's the guy. He's dying on the Press Taylor hill.
The Press Taylor.
Right?
Press is his OC, quarterback
that's
guy.
Kind of why he left Philly and he brought him to Jacksonville and he doubled down on him.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked.
No.
And it's funny, I remember when it came here, Press Taylor. It's a great name, right? Like,
yeah.
Press Taylor. But I feel for Doug. Like, I look at Doug and, this is it. Like, it's going to be a wrap, right? Like, he's going to.
This might be it.
Yeah.
They might let him come back to Philly. I think he'll get applause. He should.
Listen, I think we all kind of feel the same way, which is this is a figure in our history that meant so much, right? That, it's the Super Bowl. They didn't win the Super Bowl. Think about that. It's great to me. Andy Reid's a GOAT, right? It's him and Belichick, who we have to get to later on.
Oh, man.
Belichick on the beach
living his best life.
Where the mermaid is absolutely priceless. But here's the deal. Andy Reid was his great coach, and I don't know, he somehow does not win. It somehow escapes him. And Dougie comes in, and it all just fits. You lose Wentz, and Nick Foles comes in, and it was just this magical ride. And it's a year and a game leading through it to the Super Bowl that we'll always remember.
And I know you poo-poo it a little bit, but the Philly special, and he still said yeah. You didn't have to say yeah. I got to give him credit for that, man.
All right, Nick Foles gets the credit. I mean,
Sure,
the
whole thing is Nick Foles.
My boy, and again, I love the guy. I do. But, I mean, he's looking, and you can see he's going through the menu, right?
Yeah.
And Foles bails him out and says, hey, what about Philly? Because, time's ticking.
Yeah.
Right? It's time. You want to call the perfect play. And then God bless Doug says, all right, let's go.
But don't you think Doug was like, oh, Philly, I'd love to do that, but this is tight. He got tight, and he's looking for something else. And then once Nick says it, he's like,
I think it was tick, tick, and the clock's ticking, and Nick Foles is going, dude, we got to get a play in. And he goes, let's run Philly. And then Doug's like, yeah, all right, go for it. Right? Like, what the hell? Yeah, let me roll the dice.
Let's run the craziest play we have on the chart.
I mean, I think that was how it went down. Listen, we don't need to go bend over backwards for that. He coached a good game, great game. His whole year, everything worked.
I thought he was good at pressers. I like Doug. I know he's not the smartest football mind in the world,
Listen,
but I like Doug.
Doug is a lovable figure.
And then you hear what he did with Nick. When Nick came, he walked him through the organization. No,
dude, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Doug is a great dude. And he's always been a great dude.
So it's weird. Like, does karma give him a win here? Probably not. He's going to get.
I mean, I love him, but I don't want to. I mean, you don't want to lose any ground to Washington.
No, I don't.
And you're going to be a favorite, right? Like you are a big favorite.
Yeah,
7.5, 8 points.
So it's bittersweet. I mean, they should smoke them, and it's probably going to be his last game. I think he gets fired after here.
Well, there's a bye week coming up in a couple weeks, so
is there?
They won't do it until the bye week. So that's kind of how it'll play out. All right, we got lots to get to today.
Bobby Brink, dude. Bobby Brink.
How about Fly Guys, man?
Those uniforms are hot.
Yeah,
all black. Those black with the art.
I love the all black.
You like that
I'm
phrase?
into that. Yeah.
You look good today.
I need to get one of them.
Jersey?
Yeah, man. Kelly Green.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Had a rep.
It looks good, man. I like it. All right, lots to get to. Let me tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services, the great people at Ace. So, we know them as the helpful hardware folks. And you go, all right, whatever we need, we go to Ace Hardware and get what we got. But now they're their helpful hardware folks who come to your home and take care of everything you need. Like, for instance, I had an issue with heating and air conditioning. And my unit went, it was an old unit, and you know how it is, right? And I know it's been beautiful, but winter's about to come, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I went to Ace, the helpful hardware folks. They come in. Mariano is my man. He came in. He handled the job. They were terrific. They're courteous and clean. Like, they clean up after themselves. They do everything. And it was a tough job, too, because my house had old, outdated wiring, so I had to do some wiring, and there's a roofer involved. There's a whole thing. So I can't stress to you enough. You have any jobs around the house, you got to call Ace Hardware Home Services, all right? You got to do it. AceHardwareHomeservices.com. They'll get started on your next project. The local teams, again, they're live. They serve in our community. They're right here. The guys were from here, all right? And they're dedicated to keep their neighbors comfortable in their home. AceHardwareServices.com.
Hey, let me talk to you about the fine people over at Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. They can help you out if the hair's thin and going on you. You don't have to worry about parting it from the side or wearing caps. It's established by the late Dr. Paul Glatt, now part of the Morgenstern Center under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Ken Morgenstern, who happens to be a nationally recognized specialist among the few surgeons in the country trained in oculofacial plastic surgery. Doctors Glatt and Morgenstern, they shared a remarkable bond over many years. They worked on some critical research studies together. They worked in the operating room together. They're kind of buds.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what makes Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical better? Well, they give you the same peerless approach to care and the same expert team and unmatched Glatt system. Under the direction of Morgenstern, every member of this exceptionally trained team brings over 30 years of industry experience in hair restoration, as all of these folks do. Glad Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment. And these folks are honest because they told me, too far gone. can't help you, so they're not going to rip you off. They'll be honest with you. If they can help you, they'll help you. Caring patient advocates work with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up. They understand how important and emotional this can be, and they're there to help you. And Glad Hair just isn't about restoration. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence and visit gladhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
I like it.
No need for the hat when you got Glad.
Look at the Frazier.
Yeah, man.
By the way, Frazier and Julia coming up huge, right?
Putting this together.
So Andrew Frazier, you know Frazier every morning with us, and of course Julia Hoff. We love her. She's our head of production here at PHLY. Do you guys like the studio? I love the way it looks.
Yeah, it's fun.
Right?
I love it.
What do you think, Jules? Yeah, it looks great. You guys did a great job. Chris did a great job helping out. So we appreciate this little move into the front of the office.
Yeah, we got a fun show today. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'd be great. And we got all the guys from across the pond.
That we do.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk
Oh,
to
my
those.
God.
Yeah. I don't know.
Don't do the action
Hello,
while they're
love.
here. Not while they're here.
No, yeah. When they'll be like,
I'm not doing it with her
yeah,
here.
It's like you traveling over there and them doing a Rocky.
I hate that. It's funny. I hate that all the time.
No, that's
get it all
behind
the
closed
time.
doors for me. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's great. All right, we have our man, Franny Films, is with us. The great Fran Duffy. We love him. You got to read his breakdowns, man. Nobody does it like Fran. All right, PHLY, allphly.com, and you can check out what Fran does. It's absolutely tremendous. Good morning, Franny.
Ed, what's up, guys? I'm still trying to recover from Frazier's accent. I might need a minute to compose myself here.
Franny, he's actually really good. Now, you are a true Irishman. All right. Now, could you do the Irish accent for him?
Sure, I can do the Irish accent for you, Fran.
That's
Oh,
pretty good.
Fran Duffy.
Nah, he's
Pretty
all right
good.
with Irish. It's the English.
Now Frazier's Irish, right? Like, so Andrew's an Irishman. So he does a good Irish accent, which his British accent's good.
Yeah.
Nah, he can do it all, Frazier.
Sammy from England saying no.
Yeah,
no,
Sam's
Andrew.
ripping me right now.
Do the Cockney accent.
Oi, go back you down.
All right. Come on, man. I think that's fabulous. I love that accent. I like that whole UK accent.
Thanks, Gov.
Franny, let's break down this game because this on paper, you get a wounded Jags team, not very good defensively, a team that struggled with the quarterback play. Let's dive into him a little bit because I was a huge Trevor Lawrence fan coming out of Clemson. I really thought that he was as can't miss almost as Andrew Luck. And it has been, it's second year he was good and promising, and I thought he'd take that next step, and he hasn't.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, this is a very vertical offense. It's a lot of downfield throws, a lot of throws outside the numbers, a lot of the things we've talked about here with this offense in Philadelphia, where it's a lot of high level of difficulty throws for the quarterback, and so he kind of has to be on. I talked with a number of people that have been down, boots on the ground in that building over the last couple of years. It really, basically, the way that offense goes, if Trevor is on, then the offense is good. If Trevor is not on, then the offense really struggles. They don't have a lot of easy button, layup throws for him in that offense. It's a lot of play action, a lot of deep throws down the field, and that's the problem, man. I mean, you mentioned this is a banged up team. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. goes down last week. Christian Kirk goes down last week.
Now
Gabe
Thomas
Davis
is going to play,
so they're
right?
top
I
receivers.
saw he's going. What's that?
So their top three receivers all out last week, and so they hurt and coming into this one.
Right, but Thomas, I heard, is going to play.
Yeah, so basically the way it was announced, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN came out and said that he was going to be 2 to 4 weeks, and then Doug and the player Brian Thomas Jr. both said, it's more like day to day. It sounds like he's going to go, but they were still calling it kind of 50-50. So it seems like he's going to play, but definitely going to be feeling it on Sunday.
Yeah, I love that kid. That kid's stud. Brian Thomas is fantastic. I love that kid.
Yeah,
but
for the viewers that aren't familiar, I mean, you think like DK Metcalf in terms of like the height, weight, speed. I mean, he is a freak show in terms of the way that he moves. He's over 6'2". He's a 4.3 guy in terms of the 40-yard dash speed, and it shows up on film. A ton of vertical throws that he's been able to come down with in that offense, and he's really expanded his role over the last few weeks as well.
So defensively, they are not good, and they're terrible in the back end. Really vulnerable in the back end. I mean, this thing screams Eagles by double digits. Eagles should score 30 in this game.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things I feel like the coaches almost want to kind of stress to Jalen in this game is that you don't need to force it early because those opportunities are going to be there throughout, right? So I don't think this is one of those where, hey, you know what, they got to jump out early and you got to take that. No, the opportunities are going to be there against this team. I mean, they play man coverage. It's something like an 80% rate. It's number one in the NFL. But they don't blitz. Like they're like a 16% blitz rate. It's not just last in the league. It's like way out behind everybody else in terms of how often they send more than 4 rushers. So I think when you look at it right now, this defense, basically by every metric, is the worst in football. They are not creating pressure at a good enough rate. They're not stopping anybody. The run game has been solid so far this season, but last week, I mean, Green Bay had their way with them on the ground. That offensive line was moving guys off the ball. Josh Jacobs had a huge day. So the Eagles in this game, to me, I think you approach it the same way that you did last week against Cincinnati, where you still want to be able to establish yourself on the ground, but I think those opportunities are going to be there through the air. I think it's going to be incumbent on Jalen, though, not to force the issue. Don't give them any cheapies. They do have guys on the back end that can take the ball away. Tyson Campbell is a really good corner. Andre Cisco has made plays on the ball. They're free safety in this league. So, I think that you still want to be cautious, but this should, I agree with you guys. In this one, this should be a double-digit Eagles win, but you still got to go out and take care of business.
Yeah, it's interesting. I look at it, and what gives Jalen issues, right, is when you pressure him and you blitz him and you force him to make those quick decisions to go through the reads quicker than he wants to. And I look at the Jags, and I saw the same things. Like, with that low of a blitz rate, I mean, and it's not like you go, well, we're going to dial it up. Because if you're not used to doing stuff like that, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that they, look, their defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, he comes from the Dennis Allen tree down in New Orleans. And that he had been there for a few years. He was in Atlanta last year. And so I was looking forward to what that would look like here this season because I like some of the things he did in Atlanta a year ago. But there are still the bones of what that New Orleans defense has been. That New Orleans defense has been one of the best in football over the last few years. But when you look at it, it's a ton of man coverage, and they just don't have the horses on the back end to be able to compete in man-to-man coverage. Like I said, Campbell's a really good player, but they have a bunch of young guys that just don't have that level of juice to be able to play man-to-man. And so they're not holding up on the back end. And then up front, you've got those 2 defensive ends. Josh Hines-Allen, they made him one of the highest paid defensive ends in football this year, and he's deserving of that kind of contract. Trayvon Walker, they took number 1 in the draft. This kid is really, really talented. I mean, he's second in the NFL. If you go back to 15 of last year, 11 and a half sacks in that span, second in the league. He's like 7th in the league right now in sacks just from this season. So you've got those 2 bookends, but they're not getting anything else from those guys. And so there are ways that offenses have been able to kind of take them out of the game and kind of neutralize them. And if it's third down, they do what New Orleans does. They'll bring a linebacker up on the line of scrimmage, and that's all. It's 5 or 6 guys. Who's going to come? But like every single time, they all drop out. They very rarely come. And so they've just become so predictable. And again, with all the man coverage they play, it's very easy to kind of scheme it up and find the matchups you want. So to me, I would look at this and say, the Eagles have to feel good. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Grant Calcaterra, Saquon Barkley, you feel good about those matchups. So that's why, to me, you can almost play the long game if you're Jalen Hurts in this one. You don't need to take a huge bite of the apple every single drive and go for broke. I think they'll be able to win these matchups over the course of the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I always love the Eagles when you get teams against man coverage because a couple things it does. One, like you mentioned it when it comes to their wideouts, right? When it comes to Devontae and AJ. And then the other thing, too, is it also helps Jalen because when guys are man-to-man, sometimes you get lost, and Jalen can find big, gaping holes to run through for big games.
That's a great point. And we saw him. He was obviously a factor with his legs a week ago against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, I mean, they were playing a little bit more zone coverage certainly than what they're going to see this week. And we've seen. I mean, I go back to Minnesota because Brian Flores, he's a big man coverage player, man coverage coach as well. You go back to week 2 of last year, Monday Night Football, under the lights, and Jalen ran all over that defense. Made plays with his legs. And so when he's got that opportunity, I think again, this is a defense where he could take advantage because they've got some speed at linebacker in terms of guys. They use the quarterback spy, but really, Jalen should be able to take advantage of some of those matchups.
Hey, Franny, when you look back at last week's game, Fred Johnson and his performance and how he did, do you think how does he match up with Josh Hines-Allen?
It's still one. I think you're still playing with fire because he did a great job last week against Trey Hendrickson. What I would worry about, number one, first, they did a really good job of helping him in certain spots. Although there were times where they left him one-on-one and they said, okay, this is your former teammate, a guy that you went up against in practice all the time because Fred Johnson was a backup. And so in practice, he saw Hendrickson rep after rep as a backup going against the starter. So he had some institutional knowledge of Hendrickson going into that game. I would worry going into with this one with Josh Hines-Allen, like, all right, well, yeah, we're going to put it all on you again. I would still, you want to be wary, I think, going into that matchup, just because Hines-Allen, he's got that ability to beat Johnson just with some of the things that he can do from a technique standpoint, from a power standpoint, with his length. That would concern me. And so to me, that's what the only way the Jaguars, I think, defensively can get the best of the Eagles here is if you let those two DNs wreck the game. That's the thing you just don't want to happen. And so that's why, like, to me, the run game and then just being judicious with your shot plays, I think that's going to be very important.
Yeah. How about the other side of the ball? Let's look at that. We talked about some of the injuries on the outside that they have at receiver. Their run game has been odd, right? So Bigsby the tank has gotten a lot more run, and they're a weird offense. I expected that offense to be so much better than what it is.
Yeah, the run game has just been so inconsistent, really, honestly, throughout Doug's tenure down there in Jacksonville. They've just been waiting for that to hit. Travis Etienne is a very up-and-down, volatile player. He kind of leveled out a little bit for them last year, and he's been banged up for the majority of this season. He's missed the last couple of weeks, and so Bigsby has taken on more of a role. And he is tough to get to the ground. He's second in the league right now in terms of forcing missed tackles, in terms of a by-percentage standpoint. And I think when you look at Bigsby, that's his game. Downhill, guys bouncing off him. He's got a little bit of juice to him. He's similar to, if fans can remember Bryce Brown, in like the 2012, 2013 time with the Eagles. Like, he's got that kind of that skill set. He's the more talented player, I think. But I think in terms of when you look at Bigsby, that's what he is. And so I think if you're looking at trying to stop those guys, you've got to get population of the football. Now, Etienne is supposed to be back for this game. So now what is that timeshare going to look like in the backfield? Are they going to stick with Bigsby, or are they going to try and force it with Etienne? I am going to be interested to see how that works out. But regardless, this offensive line has just not been very good at moving people off the ball. That has not been their strength. They traded their left tackle, Cam Robinson, a week ago. So now they've got Walker Little in there at left tackle. Now, Little was a high pick. He was like a top 35 pick a few years back. He's in the final year of his deal. So I think they want to kind of audition him for that left tackle job. He's not a slug, but the run game is not his forte either. And so I think when you look at it, the Eagles should be able to win those matchups up front in the run game. Make them one-dimensional, get after Lawrence. I mean, guys, we saw the last time this team came here, Jacksonville, it was that monsoon game in the Super Bowl year in 2022, and you got to Trevor Lawrence, you pressured him, and you pressured him into mistakes. And I think that's the book on Lawrence, is if you can pressure him, he will throw you some. He'll put the ball on the ground. It's a lot of the turnovers have plagued him throughout his career. So I think you want to kind of harass him early and force him into those mistakes.
Yeah, I listen, I think that makes perfect sense. I do. I kind of go and look at it. Let's look at Doug for a second because, dude, he goes down in annals as this beloved figure. I mean, my man over here is a super fan.
Got a Doug tattoo.
He loves him, and he deserves a lot of love in his return. And that year, how's it going sideways for him down there?
Yeah, I think that obviously, look, not every player acquisition has worked out from that standpoint, right? There have been some struggles there. Defensively, I think a year ago they were up and down on both sides of the football. They made wholesale changes on the defense. They got rid of that whole staff basically, except for some of the names that we're familiar with, right? Like Bill Shuey's down there, Rory Seacrest is down there, right, on the defensive staff. So Doug basically said, all right, everybody on defense out except for you guys. Offensively, they kept that whole structure the same. And look, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been up and down. The offensive line acquisitions haven't been great. They haven't been able to get the run game going. You can pick apart the scheme, right? So I think it's just a confluence of all of these factors that have just led to them being a very inconsistent football team. And ultimately, I mean, Doug would say it. Ultimately, a lot of that stuff will come down on him. But you've seen it throughout press conferences throughout this year. I mean, it started early. It was like week 2, week 3, where Doug would get asked questions by the media down there, which is not a tough media corps, right? In Jacksonville, but he would get asked questions and he'd say, yeah, like we're not, the coaches aren't out there on the field making the plays, right? Like it very quickly was like, yeah, like these guys have got to make those plays. So there's a lot of factors going on down there.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest for a second. Doug's never been Shanahan when it comes to the X and O of it. I mean,
but has Press been Shanahan? When you look at the offense,
I mean,
is it a complicated offense?
That's what messed him up, man. What messed him up here was he couldn't figure out how to replace his coordinators.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I feel like is under discussed when it comes to football and coaches and scheme, right? Is that so often it really kind of requires the perfect storm. It's not just one guy at the head. It's, all right, who's in charge of third down? Who's in charge? And that, going back to that Super Bowl year in 2017, I mean, that was just such a perfect combination, and everybody was really just in the perfect role in terms of what they needed to do. And once you remove one guy off of that from that chain, and everybody kind of moves up, well, now you have to really kind of reconfigure everything that you're doing, and they just haven't been able to find that right formula. Press Taylor called plays last year in Jacksonville. Doug reportedly took that back. But then there have been times where Doug has said, yeah, like Press made a good call there. You know what I mean? Like this year. So it's a lot of confusion right now. There's no real identity.
Wow.
I was just looking. I had no idea he's Zach Taylor's brother.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. Well, listen, the NFL is a family. Like the coaches thing. How about the incestuous nature of that? Like you could go through it all from, Brian Callahan, right, to all, there's a million of them. They're all over the place. The sons and the brothers and the
Kubiak's
son. I mean,
and there are times where it's that works out, right? Like Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, it's a great mind because he's been with his dad, kind of studying that but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's no different than like any other business, right? Like how many people we know? Oh, his dad was a lawyer, and then he grew up to be a lawyer. This guy's a doctor, and his dad was a doctor.
Well, I mean, listen, I remember a dear friend of mine before your time, Franny, was a guy named Tom Heckert. And Tommy, who God rest his soul, he died of leukemia. He was a great dude. His dad was the GM for the Dolphins, and so he grew up cutting tape. And back when you actually cut tape, in when he's like 7, 8 years old, and he lived around the facility. So that's your world, man. It's a great world. It's the luck of the draw if you're a coach's kid.
Yeah, and so that's why I think that's why you often see that. But to your guys' point, just because you were always in the room, it's not always by osmosis that you're able to pick that stuff up.
I know. Hey, anything strike your fancy outside of the Eagles on Sunday?
On Sunday, I mean, there are a handful of good games. Certainly, I'll be watching this Dallas game. I've been unfortunately been watching a lot of Dallas offense this morning, so that's been my morning so far today. I'm going to be dipping into some college stuff as well. I'm excited for Penn State,
Ohio State, dude. Oh my God. How do you see? Let's talk about that game for a second because that Ohio State O-line is not good. It's where you can actually kind of turn the game a little bit. I watched Nebraska. I'm close with Matt Rule, and they got destroyed by Indiana 2 weeks ago. They come back, and they were one play away from shocking Ohio State last week, and they got a ton of pressure on Howard.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some guys up front, James Williams and Ty Robinson at Nebraska, and Ohio State, as you mentioned. I mean, they lost their left tackle in Josh Simmons, who was playing like a first-round pick, early on this season before he ripped up his knee. And so I think when you look now, they've struggled to replace him. The guy that they put in there, he got hurt, and so now it looks like they're going to send the All-American guard, Donovan Jackson, out to left tackle. And so now you're essentially making two positions weaker. And to me, I stepped in as a guest host this week on our All Nittany Lions podcast with Adam Taliaferro and Jason Kabinda. Really kind of dove into the tape on Penn State and talked it with.
I love it.
Guys. Yeah, it was fun kind of doing that. I've never. It's been a while since I've watched college tape with like the grand focus of not just one individual player. But look, Penn State's got a lot of talent. I mean, you look at Abdul Carter. To me, like that defensive line, that is the key to try and see if you can win this game. Obviously, you got to stop Ohio State's offense. I mean, they've got electric star power at running back and wide receiver. I mean, they've got players. But we know like games are won and lost in the trenches. That's how Nebraska nearly gets that to go. And so if Penn State can neutralize that, if Abdul Carter, who can make those kind of impact game tilting plays, if he can show up for 2 or 3 snaps and get that pressure, you can get to Will Howard. He can make some mistakes. And so to me, I look at that as kind of the matchup to watch there, certainly in this football game.
And on the other side of the ball, you can see who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I loved watching that Penn State offense, guys. I mean, schematically, that is a fun offense to watch. They do all kinds of wacky stuff in terms of like their personnel groupings and their formations. They got offensive linemen lined up in the slot and coming across and blocking backside defensive ends. Really, really creative stuff. The running back, they've got 2 good backs. They've got 2 or 3 good tight ends. Drew Aller, as you mentioned, so he gets hurt. Drew Aller is playing very well.
Dude, I love that kid. Franny, he's got a big arm. Yep. Right, he makes all the throws. I love that kid. Bo played well, though, I have to say.
Yeah, he did. And you know what I love, too, is that when so Aller gets hurt, he doesn't come back in for the second half. The offense, especially the run game, looked completely different. They're like, all right, scrap the stuff we were doing with Allen, and we're going to do all the zone read stuff and triple option stuff. Excellent coaching from the Penn State staff. You got to give them a lot of credit. And it sounds like they're going to play both of these guys in this game. And Ohio State has had a lot of issues with movement quarterbacks and with stopping the zone read this year. And so Pribula, I think, he's going to be a factor in this football game. If you could steal a couple possessions with him being able to move the football that you wouldn't have gotten, that could play in their favor.
The shame of it is it should be at night. It should be a whiteout, man.
I know.
If it was a whiteout, and I guess the World Series, because if there was a Game 7, it would be Saturday night. So Fox didn't want to put it on prime time. They put it at the big noon kickoff, which is a shame, man. It would have been awesome.
The white, I'm fairly new to this college. The white doesn't work in the daytime. It's only at night.
Night. There's certain college venues, and Franny will have my back here, that they're more fierce at night. Like LSU. You go to Baton Rouge at night, way different than it is during the day.
Why?
It's a vibe, man. It's like ominous. It's like, don't mess.
Is everyone drunk and crazy?
Well, it's beyond that. There's a vibe to it, man. When darkness falls, it gets scary.
Louisiana.
Right,
and like Alabama, when you go down to Bryant Denny at night, and they've got those LED lights that every time the touchdown, the whole stadium goes dark. That place is rocking. There are certain stadiums where it's a palpable difference between like the night game and the day game. That said, I mean that crowd's going to be raucous on Saturday. It's going to be a great environment. It's a shame that it's a noon kickoff. I think this week overall is not great, but I think that's going to be a great one there, dude.
He's got his new toy. I love it. He's got the Penn State growl. I love it. Hey, last thing. Cowboys, are they cooked?
Close to it, man. Yeah. I mean, they just look that whole pass game is CeeDee Lamb. He got like nearly 50% of the targets last week in that game.
I mean, when you got 2 old running backs, like it's unbelievable that they're looking at Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook actually was better than Elliott, but my God, you're relying on 2 ancient backs. Well, you got no run game.
We said it in week 1. We were you and I were on the show. We were saying, like, look, we look at Dallas, like, how afraid are you of Dallas? And it's like, well, they still don't have anybody opposite CeeDee Lamb. They have 2. They turned over half the defense. They lost a bunch of depth. They have 2 rookie starters in the O line who have been inconsistent. They've been banged up. They don't have depth on offense either. Yeah, not surprised at all that this is how this has gone. This was a very predictable start to this season for Dallas.
Yeah, I think they lose something like now. It's interesting because there's one player who I actually like that they have, skill guy, Turpin, who's got great, he's small, but he's got great speed. I would use, if I were them, I would use way more Turpin. And by the way, he could be a Deshaun Jackson light.
And I'm putting my notes. The notes that it will be up on allphly.com next Wednesday, right? So my notes just went up, or next Thursday for the Cowboys. I just wrote on Turpin, dynamic. They don't have any juice, and he gives them that. He'll run wheels from the backfield. He's a finesse player, but they need to get him on the field more. That's literally what I literally just wrote that 20 minutes ago.
You got to be kidding me! See, great minds. I mean, we always see it similarly. And then the last thing I want to ask you is Colts Vikings. That's the Sunday night game, and Flacco. This great story. Like Indianapolis is blowing up, man, because of all the quarterback stuff. And there's Michael Pittman's like, I don't know. We just found out through social media, and all of a sudden Shane Steichen, who was like supposed to be the genius here, I don't know. Although I'll be honest with you, I would go Flacco too. I mean, he gives you the best chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, it was messy last week because when you look at Anthony Richardson, the play has been very up and down. He hasn't taken the step that they were hoping for. Which this was a guy that had basically no experience in college, and so you had to know that there was going to be ups and downs. Putting him in as the starting quarterback, it wasn't going to be all right. He was solid in 3 games last year before the injury. He's going to be ready to take that next leap this year. There were going to be ups and downs. It was going to be volatile, and it has been that. But the whole tapping out on 3rd and goal because he was tired and admitting that, and saying that out loud, that's a tough look, especially for a team that is still viable in the AFC South. I mean, Houston lost again last night, so this is a team. If you're the Colts, I see why they were all right. We want to go with the steadier hand, but I don't know. This just opens up a whole can of worms in terms of young quarterback development and trying to project those guys forward to the NFL. But I agree with you. I think Flacco gives them the better chance to win this game and probably the better chance to go to the playoffs. But that's tough after you spend a top 5 pick on a quarterback.
I know. Did you see the catch Garrett Wilson made last night?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I saw it live. One-handed, reached behind. So he got the shin in. Shin is in.
The shin is in.
He's unbelievable.
I mean, his body was faced to the back of the end zone, and he turned just a ridiculous example of body control and ball skill. Just ridiculous play.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. By the way, they win last night, but you could see they are just one step away from collapse.
Yeah, they better get used to the darkness. I can't imagine that they're going to go on any kind of run here with the Jets.
No, I'm with you. My brother, always great, man. I could do it all day long with you. Thanks, pal.
Appreciate it, guys.
There he is, Fran Duffy. Franny Films.
Franny Films breaking down some college ball.
I love Franny Films on college. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah? You're locked in on this game?
Yeah. You kidding me? Penn State, Ohio State? 3v4?
We are Penn State.
Are you kidding me? I mean, it's going to be incredible. By the way, this portion of the program is brought to you by the BetParks online sportsbook casino app. Download it today. Time for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
There he is, Brain, the ambassador of the BetParks sportsbook casino app. What do you say, Brain? How are you, pal?
Good morning to you. And I saw that catch. Anthony, by the way, I like the sweatshirt. Pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I thought it was arguably the best catch I've ever seen. I'd go that far.
It was better that they showed the Beckham one, and this one was better than the Beckham one.
I thought it was sensational, absolutely sensational. I've just total props, but it's interesting. I think you're right. This Jets team. First of all, you ever seen a team that was that bad stopping the run? It was almost like watching a high school or Oklahoma back in the day when Barry Switzer was there, and they would just have to run the wishbone. They'd get 8 yards a run to Jamal Holloway or whatever. This was. I was every time Joe Mixon got the ball,
I know
he would get 7 yards. That's not even exaggeration. I couldn't believe how inept their run defense was. But you know what? they couldn't pass block, and every time they tried to pass the ball with Stroud, they got sacked, I think, 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, they were behind
Credit
the
for
sticks.
that. That
Yeah.
kept taking him out of, and then they have a great field goal kicker who actually missed 2 field goals. But I agree, this Jets team obviously still a lot of work. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, look at that pie. Look at
That's a great
amazing.
photo.
Oh
Look
my
at
God!
It's like the jump man.
I'm going to tell you
Yes,
something right now, Anthony.
yes,
He will
yes.
Crazy.
sign
It
memorabilia
really is
photos
the
for
jump
that.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will sign memorabilia photos for that. He's going to make 6 figures off that just from signing that photo. Like there'll be a thing,
yeah.
Garrett Wilson. I guarantee that'll be in a memorabilia shop near you. But that was just an incredible catch. Yeah, I mean, but again, Texans very limited right now, Anthony. Stroud needs help.
Well, I mean,
offensive line and wide
his
receiver
own
wise.
line's banged up. He's got no Nico. He's got no Diggs.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, he's up against it.
He's up against it for sure.
All right, Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. Tomorrow, Ohio State, Penn State. As the week goes on, I don't know. I like Penn State even more. I was talking to somebody who like Ohio State's going to be the desperate team, and I get that. I like Penn State in the game.
Anthony, again, I very rarely do I bet a team where I don't know the quarterback situation, but I did it here. I actually did do it here. I bet Penn State where if Aller plays, I love Penn State, not love. I think they'll win the game. You want to give me 3.5 points as a bonus? Great. But I flat out think Penn State will win. Now, if he doesn't play, I still think the way Bo looked, he played, again, small sample size, so I'm trying not to overrate it. But, again, I just don't think we talk about anything. I just don't think Ohio State's that good of a team. So because of that, and you talk about Anthony, I couldn't agree with you more. The offensive line's a huge thing. Their left tackle thing is a huge thing. This isn't a great Ohio State team. They're just not.
It's not.
They're fine. They're fine. But again, 3.5, I always say, and you can still get 3.5 right now on Parks. And there's a lot of 3s out there. So I would say if you like this game, bet it at Parks now because that line is not going to hold, in my opinion. Unless, now again, if we find out Aller is out, then obviously it will. But if he's not, this line for sure is going to go way lower.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I guess I feel the same way. I look at this Ohio State team, I go, they're okay. I mean, they're not. It's not a great team.
No,
not
at all.
4. I don't know that Penn State's 3, but I don't think they're 4.
And I keep saying it on each show, and I'm going to keep repeating it because I think it merits it. I've never seen more parity at the top than I've ever seen this year in college football. And when I say ever, I'm talking. I've been following this stuff since I was 8 years old. Okay?
Oh, dude,
obviously,
you and I
follow it now.
Yeah,
but you get my point. Never seen more parity at the top ever.
No,
again,
I mean, and let's face it. Like over the last 20 years, you had they kind of took turns, right? You had Alabama, where they owned,
Georgia,
probably
Ohio
8
State.
of the last 10 years, right? Then you would have Georgia. Then you would have Clemson. Then you would have
LSU.
Ohio State, LSU. They all kind of took turns in their periods of dominance, and they were always
they were dominant. That was the
Yeah.
key. That was
Yeah.
the key. Dominance. You said the word there, Anthony. Dominance. No one is saying this year's Georgia team is dominant. This year's Ohio State team is dominant. This year's Oregon's team is dominant. No one is saying that. There's just no dominant team, which, by the way, may make for a better playoff than when you had, let's say, an elite
I agree.
Alabama team
Yeah.
just wiping the floor with everyone, or an elite Texas team. Georgia team wiping the floor with everyone. So I actually think when you have the 12 teams this year in college football in the playoffs, beforehand, I would have thought maybe 4 teams had a chance. Now I think it's probably closer to at least 8.
Yes. By the way, my man Nicky says Brain gives Chisholm the stolen base to lead the everybody in stolen bases for the postseason. Thanks, Brain.
Yeah, Jazz. Well, look again. He had a good
that.
postseason, Jazz, at least with stealing the bases or whatnot. But yeah, I mean that was.
Well,
sometimes
you got accolades. You got to thank you.
Right,
So
That was a
Appreciate
plus
that.
550 plus 550 bet.
yeah, good job there, Brain.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Appreciate
So,
that. Every
what
now
do
and then
you-
you can get one.
What do you got coming up? Let's go tomorrow. College. Where you at tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, Anthony, look, a couple things in common. We talked about the Penn State game, which I bet I like them very much, getting the 3.5 points. A couple other games I'll give. I like South Carolina getting a field goal. South Carolina off a bye. Texas A&M, we saw last week their game of the year, or one of their biggest games. They beat LSU. But you know what, that game, now that you see them, you saw the score, you probably think, they really won that game. Not so much having watched that game. They were trailing most of the game, got fortunate turnovers. LSU missed 3 freaking field goals, 3 field goals. They actually got outgained in the game. I don't think A&M is that good. I actually think South Carolina is, even though they're not power ranked as high from the market point of view. Look, this team was within a whisker, and I mean, they had 2 horrible losses where they had Alabama and LSU beat. The LSU loss was one of the worst losses of the year. They absolutely did everything in the world except win on the final score. It took a million things for LSU to win this game. Again, we talk about getting 3 such a key number, or 3.5. I think this is at least a 50-50 game, and you want to give me 3 points in the game. I think it's going to be tight. I think I'm going to win, but you want to give me 3 points to boot? Give me South Carolina. I think every bit is good and in a much better spot. And a line that really surprised me, and it's funny, Anthony, the team I followed the most, I didn't tell you this, but the team I followed the most, even more than Michigan this year, the team I followed the most is SMU. Why have I followed SMU the most? My biggest wager of the college football season was SMU at 20-1 odds to win the ACC.
Yeah, they
I
went all in. For
SMU
people who
game.
don't know, they went all in big time with NIL money. So they were in the portal, racking up players in the portal, which is why Brad jumps in on both hands on SMU.
Yeah, and they were because I thought the ACC was going to be a little weaker.
Yeah.
And I thought they had a chance to be really as good as anyone. I was getting 20-1. So I followed it's funny, last week I actually turned off the game to discuss. They have to win out to get to the ACC title game. And they had 6 turnovers against Duke. 6. And they fumbled the ball at like the 15-yard line with like 30 seconds. I turned off the game. I didn't find off until, no joke, like 5 hours later that the guy missed the field goal and they ended up winning. Because I was so upset. But I think this line against Pitt is too high. 7.5. Pitt to me has been a comparable team to SMU. I'll be honest. I think the team's been comparable. I thought this line would come in closer, maybe 4.5. I thought 7.5 was too high.
Yeah.
Now Jennings, their quarterback, is banged up, and Jennings. Look, I'll give their coaching staff credit because I thought Preston Stone, who was the original quarterback, Anthony, was a good quarterback for them. And I thought going to Jennings, who was more of a running quarterback, was a mistake. But he's changed the whole team. I give him credit. Coach knows the team way better than me, and it's helped this team. He's a little banged up, but I just think 7.5 is too high. Both these teams undefeated. I thought the teams were kind of comparable. I just think 7.5 points too high. I kind of like, even though I'm rooting like blood for SMU to win the game outright, I think plus 7.5, I think Pitt has some value.
All right. You like Michigan. He went to Michigan. I like Oregon in that game. I don't see how they keep up with them.
Anthony, look, again, I hear what you're saying. Well, I'll tell you why. I think they can keep up with them. The last week, again, I am not overrating Michigan even like a little bit. They're not good, Anthony. And I didn't bet the game. So let me just say this. I did not bet the game. But Warren, to me, actually, like, I don't want to say he played well, like, but he played as
well. Comparatively speaking, I mean, their quarterbacks are wretched. So he's not good, but he's not as terrible as what you've seen.
They went from they couldn't throw a forward pass. I just think, again, I lean here, Michigan. It's a lean. I think this game. I think Oregon will win the game. I think they'll win the game by about 10. Again, I thought the line would come in at 13. Is what I made it in my numbers. It was like 15. I think it's down to 14 now. Yeah. So again, look for those 14.5 still. I don't know if Park still has a 14.5, but when I saw earlier, I think it may have been down to 14. But lean here, Michigan, again, not a game I'm personally betting.
How about NFL?
Okay, and I like a couple games I'll talk about. Well, let me see if the Eagles, I don't think there's still any 7s out there. Yeah, no, there's really not. When it was 7, I leaned Philly, but Arizona, Chicago. I just like Arizona here, Anthony, at home. I think these teams are pretty close. Arizona, I agree. Thought has it decent home field advantage, believe it or not, having been to that stadium. Actually, I know it may sound weird. I was there for the title game when they played when Kurt Warner was there back in the day. I actually thought it was a pretty good, that it got very loud in there. Caleb Williams, to me, you get some good, you get some bad, but I think he's still crazy erratic. Don't think that, again, the Bears defensively have been pretty good, but I thought that Arizona deserved to be a bigger favorite than basically almost a pick 'em or laying one. I thought that was too low. And Anthony, you talked about earlier, you go, oh, is Dallas done? Unfortunately, Anthony, when we had our show the other night, we talked about Dallas laying 2.5. I'm sorry, Atlanta laying 2.5. And when this goes to 3, that is the key, getting in that 2.5 now. Parks is up to 3, which took away a big part of that edge. But again, I just think they are the better team in every way, shape, and form. And I just think Dallas is overrated. Buffalo, Anthony, again, I think they're the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami is. I think Buffalo is a tough team, and I think that they do win that game by at least a touchdown against the Miami team, even with Tua. I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm all build up. Bills Nation. Bills Mafia.
Bills Mafia.
That's not
Bills
a nation.
Mafia. Yeah,
That's not a
Hey,
nation.
come on, VJ.
Get it right.
Brain, I need help. I got to go back. For a noob like me, I'm looking at this college roster. I'm getting all geeked up about these games tomorrow. I got a unranked Minnesota -3 against a ranked Illinois. Should I hop on that?
Oh, God, wait. Who did you want to take? You wanted to take which
Minnesota.
team?
It seems weird to me that Minnesota's -3 versus a ranked team. So it looks like they're telling me something's up. Minnesota's going to win this game.
Well, Minnesota is actually against the spread this year. They're 7-1. Okay, that's number one. And actually, a lot of quote unquote sharp money has actually come in on the Minnesota side, and that's why that is. And from a yards per place perspective, which is what a lot of handicappers look at, Minnesota's been better than Illinois. Look, one of these bets that people used to make a lot of was when you had a ranked team versus an unranked team, and the unranked team was favored. That was like beyond gold. That was platinum.
Yeah, that was 1991.
Dude, the guy, he's right. He's right. Looking at my numbers, I had this game at 1.5. What is it right? What's it sitting at right now?
Minnesota's -3.
It's 3. Yeah, again, I actually had it at 1.5. So actually, I do see a little value on my side on the Illinois. I'd be on the Illinois side. I made it 1.5. Not a game I bet, but now that you pointed out again, I only have it at 1.5. So I actually do lean Illinois here.
Okay.
Trash man's in on it.
Trash man's ready to go.
I'm the trash man.
Indy, Minnesota, Sunday night game. Everybody loves the Sunday night game.
Yeah, Anthony, again, and I mentioned this on your show the other night, like when this line came out, when the line came out, I bet Flacco and company plus, I think I got 6.5, thinking the Flacco for sure was going to start and the line was going to come down. And that is what's happened. The line is down to 5. I thought the line would come down to 4.5, 5. It has. I think it's kind of like
but for those people that go like on Sundays and aren't doing it like you, what's your advice?
It's a tough game at this number. See, I actually do think I do have so much respect for Minnesota's defense, and I actually think that Minnesota is going to win the game. I will say I do think Flacco's over in passing yards is probably like a bet I would personally look to make. I don't think Taylor's going to have as good a game.
Yeah.
Minnesota's great against the run. You can't run against them. And I think Flacco will be able to have success. At the number at 5, it's just maybe a slightest of leans for me for Indy.
Yeah,
because I actually think with
tough.
Flacco, they go from an offense that's completely impotent to one that actually has some legs.
Yeah.
But I do respect Minnesota. I think they're a good team, and they've lost 2 in a row. So 6.5, 5 is a tougher road for me.
All right. Then the last, any props you got going on either tonight, NBA?
I'll give you a couple in the Eagles game that I bet.
Yeah.
I bet AJ Brown over 74.5, and I bet Devonta Smith over 56.5.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I believe, is 29th or 30th in the NFL in pass defense.
Yeah.
AJ Brown goes over every freaking game.
Yeah.
He's gone over this.
Well, they play man on the outside. So if you're playing man to AJ Brown, good luck. Good luck.
He's gone over 93.5. 93.5. I think 23 of his last 30 games. 93.5.
Yeah.
Forget 74.5. Okay, and AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, is averaging is also like I think 6-1 of the over. Again, I feel this either I'm going to push or I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah,
I
agree.
just and I think the math's on my side, and Jacksonville's pretty good against the run and horrible.
It's a great bet. You either push or you go 2-0.
Yeah, either push or I go 2-0.
Jags give up the most passing touchdowns in football too. You might as well parlay a little AJ Brown over with a touchdown.
Well, he likes to just Bill. He's a parlay man. He's Professor Parlay. Love it. Brain, good stuff. By the way, Sixers stink. Hey, how about Tobias at 18? Cause
I know you were right, but I got to ask one last thing before I let you guys run. Anthony, how do they get away with it? And I got to ask you a question. I know he got caught on it, in the press conference. But how do they get away with it? I'm just trying to think. How do they get away with just not saying the truth about Joe Embiid? I'm just like, I don't think I've ever seen an organization.
It's bad. I mean, listen, we know that they're built around those two guys, really the three guys with Tyrese, and they would look completely different when they're in the lineup. But knowing that their injury history, know what you got. I mean, you want to talk about a soft opening. Come on, man. I mean, it's just embarrassing.
What is he? I mean, what is this? Do you know? Is he like? I'm just confused. Did he get re-injured? Are they just? I don't understand. Like, I truly.
Nobody knows. Keith, I talked to Keith Pompey. He's pretty close to the whole situation. Keith said yesterday that, basically the Olympics, the rest that he was supposed to get through the Olympics, he's catching up on now. That he came back too early in the playoffs last year, so they want to be doubly, triply safe. So he's getting more of the rest now, and the Olympics kind of messed that up.
Okay, I mean,
that's what Keith said. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be all year. You're going to have flare-ups, and he's going to sit around. You're not going to know. He's always day-to-day. I mean, he's a questionable on. How about how many injury reports? He's always questionable. He's always on the thing. I
got to tell you something. Last thing, and I hate myself. Why do I hate myself? I pride myself. I'll bet against anyone almost. Even my favorite. I love the Sixers. Them in Michigan are my two biggest soft weaknesses. The Sixers were 52.5 over under, and I get every one of my betting partners call me up. Brad, this has to be the bet of the year. Sixers under, Sixers under, Sixers under. These guys are hurt, especially. He goes like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I know," and I made a small bet on it.
Yeah, you can't do that. You're not a rat. You're not a rat. You can't go 6 or under.
Got in the way.
I know. No, I don't blame you. It's good. It's good. Brain, have a great weekend. Great stuff as always, pal.
Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys Monday. Be good, everyone.
Yeah, you can't. Listen, there's a reason why. It's hard to do that.
Bet against them?
You can't do that.
If anyone's going to do it, it's Brain.
I know. I mean, he does it for a living, right? Yeah. You're not doing that. All right, let's talk about the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Brain, he gave you all these plays. All that stuff you find on the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. So all that. So by the way, college basketball starts on Monday, so you can throw that into the mix. You got all kinds of hoop, NBA. Right?
Wait till Trash Man gets rolling on some college hoops.
I know you'll be loving it.
I'm the Trash Man.
Princeton plus 12 against Kansas. I could just see you. But of course, it's going to be incredible, right? Like all weekend long. Penn State, Ohio State, you got all that stuff, all the Eagles and Jags, you name it. Hey, even if your team doesn't score, there's always another way to win on the Bet Parks app by playing all your favorite casino games, blackjack, craps, roulette, hot online slots. So you got it all. So you have your college football, right? Penn State, 3.5-point favorite. Birds, 7.5-point favorite. Excuse me, Penn State, 3.5-point dog. Penn State, 7.5-point Birds, 7.5-point favorite. The total is 45.5. Bet more than just the score, all the props that the Brain talked about. And new users, you download the BetParks online casino app. It's great, man. And you, if you're down in the first 24 hours in the casino, well, guess what? You get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. BetParks.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
TrueMark time. We love our people over at TrueMark in the credit union.
Kelly Body.
Kelly, she's probably in her Kelly Green right now.
Yeah, Kelly's definitely in the Kelly Green.
Yeah, so remember, when you're looking for a place to put your money, why don't you go to a place where, a little bit of the money comes back to you. They treat you like a person, not a number on a stat sheet. That's what you do, and you get over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Better rates, lower fees. They had a better return on savings, flexible options, and they got all those fancy techs, apps, and websites that all the big banks do. They got local roots, so you feel good working with people in your community. They're headquartered here in Fort Washington with 24 branches in the Philly area, serving the community right here at home. Becoming a member of credit union has benefits over being a customer at one of those big banks. Total no-brainer. Get your money into TrueMark Financial Credit Union right now. Head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY. Federally insured by the NCUA.
I love it. I love it. This portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. So get your flu shots, your scripts, your Thanksgiving Day candy.
Yeah.
Anything Thanksgiving Day. They always have the little knick-knack, kind of turkey day stuff.
I like knick-knack turkey days.
Yeah, I do too. I love this. Is my favorite time of the year. I'm upset October's over, but November's great because it ushers in the holiday season. I'm already getting the Christmas stuff down.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
stop.
Violation.
You're not saying that.
Where's
I'm
the
getting it
boo?
done. We're
Where's
getting
the
ready.
buzzer?
No, first of all, shut the bleep up.
No.
Second of all, we're not putting it up, but it goes the day Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to put it up for Thanksgiving Friday, Black Friday.
You put it up on Black Friday?
Yeah.
All right. You're not doing Thanksgiving with Christmas decorations up.
No.
All
I
right,
got to
all right.
get that. We have to get the stuff up from the
Where you
basement,
getting, from the Alps?
down from the attic, and up from the basement.
Helps.
So you got to get the stuff ready.
It's a long trek.
All right, and then
27 floors is bringing it down.
No, but you got to get the stuff ready.
Get the alpaca to
you got
bring
to
it down
clean
with
the
you.
house. You got to get the whole thing. The house got to get ready. So you got to make the transition from the Halloween to the Christmas. Come on, cuz. Give me a break, would you? I got enough people breaking my balls. My wife bust my stones. All that. You got to get the Christmas stuff down.
How long is it
You're
going to take you to get it down? Oh, it's going to take me like 4 weeks to get
you
this box
kidding me?
down.
You know what I mean? I got my main man. I love him. He is my brother. He's on the NFL Network, and he crushes it every day from South Philadelphia. He knows about addicts. The great Mike Garafolo.
He also knows about flyers, and people are like, "Oh, not enough flyer talk. We'll get some flyer talk with Mikey G."
Are you kidding me? How much? We got a lot of flyer talk.
Hold
We
up.
started the show.
Hold up. I got addict takes. All right. I hate an addict because
Hate him.
because we didn't. I grew up row house, South Philly.
Yeah.
I live in. They don't call them row houses. They call them brownstones. Even if they're
Right.
not brownstones, we're a brick front. So you say row house up there, and they don't.
They don't know.
Knuckleheads up here in North Jersey. So I didn't have an attic growing up. Bought our house down the shore, had an attic in the old house. Raccoons living in our attic for probably 10 years, and we had no idea. In the attic, go through the attic fan. They bend the screen. They climb in there. And I didn't know till one night, my daughter was like about a year old. I come out of the bedroom to use the bathroom at like 12:30, and I hear this like scratching, and I'm like, what is she doing in there? It was a raccoon in the wall that had gotten in through the attic. Anyway, long story short, we
Dude,
redid that.
you critters
in the wall are the worst.
Bro,
God,
bro.
I'm with you. Dude, we go to Jersey, and I hear things. I didn't want to hear things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I put the pillow over my ears because I don't even know what kind of critters are in it. I don't like critters. I'm anti-critter.
Addicts are bad. I'm anti-addict.
Yeah, I'm
Addicts are
with you.
bad news.
Bleep the
So
attic.
we level the house. We rebuild it now. Okay, brand new spanking house. I got wasps. I got lantern flies because they're getting in through, and they're in the attic. And it's and my wife is like, "Hey, go put this in the attic." No, it's not a storage space.
I'm not going anywhere near the attic. And by the way,
I hate.
I'm with you. Attics are scary. Attics are a bad place in the house. God only knows stuff that people find in the attic.
Yeah, I mean, some people find a copy of the Constitution, but not me.
And you're right. And they're always like the 5 feet, right? So
and you're walking up there,
you gotta
hit your head.
Exactly. It's the worst.
2x4 right to the head.
It's either freezing or it's ungodly hot.
Exactly. Addicts.
Yeah, bleep the attic. Flyers last night, 2 in a row.
I didn't see it.
Urson. No, listen. I mean,
Halloween.
I'm counting on him.
Halloween, Thursday Night Football. Like, you got to give me a pass on this one.
Oh,
but
yes. Halloween, by the way.
Speaking of which,
the last time
I listened to him. I bought a bunch of Butterfingers. Kids did not want the Butterfingers. I was trying to give away 3 for 1 last night. The kids were like, "Get out of here with the Butterfingers."
Kids are stupid.
Kids are stupid. I agree with Mike. How could you not
So,
like the Butterfinger?
I don't know.
The
I was
Butterfinger's
surprised.
a great item.
I agree.
Butterfingers are the foie gras of Halloween candies. Like the kids don't appreciate it.
Dude, you're spot on with that. I love that take. That's a great take.
I got addicts and Halloween takes galore today.
Would
but I will
the
say
girls,
this about
would
the
the girls dress up as?
Carmen was Taylor Swift, and everybody says what era? So you got a Reputation era Taylor Swift,
Nice.
which I didn't know 2 years ago, and now I'm well versed in Taylor. And Vivian was a butterfly. Vivian was a fan. See, Carmen's more Cuban than Italian. My wife is Cuban.
Right.
Vivian's more Italian than Cuban.
Right.
It's like the combination is Vivian, right? Like just stubborn, stuck in her ways, temper. Like
Beautiful.
She got. Think about it in the lab, and you pour the two, and a poof, that's Vivian. So,
God bless him. Oh, it's beautiful.
It was dramatic for a couple of days leading up to it. I thought it was going to be a fiasco. She put the butterfly costume on yesterday, which she said she didn't want the day before. So she went to school dressed, and then after that, forget it. When she came home, she was just in a Halloween shirt the rest of it, which is fine. I don't care. Doesn't bother me.
That's adorable.
Anyway, I do want to, because last time you asked me about Mitchkov, and I was like, man, my man moves the puck like everything. He is the engine for this offense. I am officially flyered up for Mitchkov.
Yeah, he's Mikey. He's good. Oh my God, he's good.
Torch benching him for a little bit last night.
Yeah, well, you got to do. Come on, stop with the Torch. Just leave Torch alone.
Slowly starting.
He's fine. All right, it's fine. They're winning. All right, they won 2 in a row. All right, leave them alone. Leave the whole thing alone.
Called a winning streak.
That's it. All right, that's it. Let's get into the return of Dougie P to Philadelphia. You know, our old friend Doug, and things aren't going well for my man, and so it's good he comes back to Philadelphia and we cradle him in the bosom.
He got the dreaded vote of confidence from Shad Khan a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which was nice, which was good. And Tony Khan, Shad's son, tweeted something out as well after they won the game in London, the second game in London. But I go back to last year when they were pathetic on offense down the stretch, and they were 8-3. They were 8-3, and I think they finished 9-8, but out of a playoff spot, if I'm recalling that correctly. Like, they were terrible down the stretch. And he never would have gotten away with what he didn't make any changes on offense. He changed the defensive coordinator, and that has not been so great. It's like I hear jokes from people all the time about Jacksonville that, like, when they're done where they are in the NFL, they're going to go retire down to Jackson. Like, they're going to go be whatever they are in Jacksonville, because it's a different world, and you can do things. So at least Doug's, down there, and I hope he puts something together and continues. I love Doug. I think he's a really good coach.
I do too. Again, I think his staff, he hasn't done a good job with that stuff. And he's kind of a repeat what's going on. And, I feel bad for him. Does he last a year, you think? Or I know they have a bye coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think he'll last the season. And then in the offseason, Jacksonville may have to assess everything, including the front office. So we'll see. I'm skeptical at this point that he's back in 25. Again, maybe they put something together. Maybe it's the opposite of last year, and all of a sudden they go on a hot streak to end the year. We shall see. But coming in, I don't see any way they win this game, to be honest with you. And look, it's Doug Pederson was hired for Trevor Lawrence to work with him and really help him come along as a quarterback. They tried the Urban Meyer thing before that, which is a complete disaster. If they do move on from Pederson, I'm real curious to see how they approach this because it's never one of the more sought after jobs in the league.
No.
So I mean, Urban, sure, fine. The whole Florida stuff,
thing made sense.
Yeah. But outside of that, you don't really see people clamoring to go coach or be a general manager in Jacksonville.
Well,
although actually being a GM in Jacksonville is smart, because for what I taught, you get more leeway than you would anywhere else. So.
Yeah. Do they? I guess because of the European thing, the London thing. Will they expand their reach to London and play even more games there?
No, I think they'll do the regular thing that they've got going
Uh,
on. I mean, the only thing you could see is potentially, and I think we're still a long way away from this, is the NFL really going to have a whole. If you're going to do a UK team, you got to do a UK division, and
I
you got to
know.
schedule it that way so things are clustered in that regard.
Yeah.
You could do 2-game homestands and 2-game, kind of the way Jacksonville is doing it. I still think it's just from a logistical standpoint incredibly difficult to make that happen. So I think you'll just see Jacksonville keep doing what they have been doing, just sort
Yeah.
of having one foot in that realm over there.
What happened to Lawrence?
You know, I don't know that he was that great. I mean,
His second
coming
year,
out,
I loved him coming out. So maybe I overrated him coming out. But second year,
you're
man,
not
I
alone.
thought he was, you know.
You're not alone, but I did have some guys who are just like, it's gonna be a different world for him in the NFL. They make the reads easy for him down there in Clemson, and it's not going to be that way. Some of those schemes can
Yeah.
translate, but overall, to play NFL quarterback, you got to do more than that. I had some of those folks who did say, hit the pause button on his Canton enshrinement, including one evaluator that sometimes misses on these things, but I remember him telling me, like, I don't think this dude's all he's cracked up to be. And then he'll check in from time to time. Told you.
Right,
Told
right.
you. So,
Yeah.
there were dissenters, a few.
So, well, this game, I'm with you. There's no reason. I mean, you look at their back end. I mean, it's a perfect matchup for the Eagles.
Yeah, and Christian Kirk going down doesn't help them offensively, obviously.
Is Thomas playing?
I don't know. Let me see if Doug usually talks in the morning on Friday. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I did.
Yeah.
We do our Friday injury roundup starting early in the afternoon to start really locking in on that stuff. So, he was limited yesterday.
He's a great player, man. That kid's
he's
a baller.
really good.
He's
way better. I mean, especially in a draft. Well, that's what's going to happen with this draft, though. Is there were so many receivers considered late 1, early 2 picks that Jalen McMillan for the Buccaneers, who I thought was really going to come along quicker than he has. But McMillan was a guy the Bucs felt like they got a first-round value in the 3rd round. And a lot of times you say that, it's like, yeah. But I thought that's legit because there were so many of these guys that you're going to see not just the Marvin Harrisons and the Malik Neighbors up top. You're going to see these. I mean, we're going to look at this wide receiver
I like McMillan. I liked him coming out. And listen, you're playing behind Evans and Godwin up until now. Well, that's going to stunt your growth a little bit, but it's also going to help you down the line.
So this class, it's going to be fit. It's going to be opportunity. There will be some guys that are going to miss, and probably had they gone elsewhere, or maybe wound up in some. But he's really good, and probably better than a lot of folks projected. And Jacksonville definitely hit on that one, so you give him credit for that one.
All right, let's go. It was a crazy week. Indianapolis, the whole thing with Anthony Richardson tapping out. I mean, I'm sure your phone was on fire with guys going, are you kidding me? Like, nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, that was outrageous.
Yeah, here's my suggestion. Now, too late for him, obviously. Just fake it. Win knocked out of here. So just stay down. Just stay down. All right? And then, and then just come back in after that.
Yeah.
Like, don't do this. This action in and of itself. Like, if he went back to the sidelines, like, hey, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I needed to catch my breath. And he just tells the trainer and he tells the head coach, and fine, no problem. We're not talking about this 5 days later.
No.
Just don't do this. Like, you did this and it just opened up. And it's not just like, outside media. There were guys on that sideline in that locker room. I thought Dan Orlovsky painted it perfectly. I saw him say, you as a quarterback in the 4th quarter need to look at your offensive line and say, I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. I need more. You got to give me more. And they're looking back at you like, aren't you the dude that tapped out in the 2nd quarter? You just, So, it was, it's a tough scene. Now, I don't think that had anything to do with his benching. I think 2 for 15 to start the game had more to do with the benching than anything. And look, him coming out, a lot of evaluators say this guy needs to sit. He needs to sit for 1, maybe 2 years. Like, he needs to sit. Play a little bit here and there, bring him along slowly, and they didn't do it. They threw him right into the fire. And I go back to last summer. Wasn't he doing the flapping at the fans during the preseason game? I'm like, bro, hang on a second. Like,
Yes.
and I get he was having some fun, but
Nah, man.
So you hope that you can now retroactively do what you probably should have done in the first place, which is let him sit and let him learn that way.
Yeah, I listen. They're so much better off with Flacco right now. I mean, it's not even funny. It's amazing these quarterbacks now who have had a resurgence. Who, if you protect them, and now the way the game is, all of a sudden those guys are effective again because you're under center and play action and all that stuff works.
Well, it's going to be Jameis too as well, and Jameis is going to have some 4 interception games, and the Browns knew that, but the Browns also knew there's a reason he's available as a backup, but he's on the upper echelon of backup quarterbacks, and now I think he's going to come in. They already scored the season high points,
yes,
right? In one game with him as a starter. If you're Cleveland, like we're going to be talking about Cleveland drafting a quarterback when we get into the spring. And maybe it's not the first round, maybe it's the second round or something like that, but we're going to be talking about the Browns draft. They've got $92 million left to pay Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed. I don't care. Denver didn't care, moved on from Russell Wilson last year, which, by the way, Russ looks great. Looked like he took a time machine back in time the other night. Great, good for him. But that marriage needed to end. Sometimes it's just got to end. Sometimes you just, like, it's going to cost, it's a sunk cost. It is what it is. So we're going to see how nobody's saying that out of there. You start to ask the questions and like, no. We still keep an eye on it. We'll see. This will be an off-season storyline.
I got to tell you, the biggest quarterback mystery, and you brought it up Monday night with Russ, is still Daniel Jones. He's horrible. Dude, they win the game if he delivers the ball on time. He's always late. And Aikman pointed out, too, that he's got to be open before you throw. He throws the football. He stinks, dude. He just blows.
Can I tell you? I was going to ask Mike about this since he's up there amongst the Giants. These stats are unbelievable. After Monday night's game, Daniel Jones has now not thrown a primetime TD in 1,075 days. And going into this weekend so far, he has still not thrown a touchdown at MetLife Stadium in 670 days. These numbers are crazy.
Somebody before last night's game, I think it was CBS or somebody put something out about how Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson had more touchdown passes than Aaron Rodgers and Daniel Jones at MetLife Stadium in like the last calendar year or whatever it was. And it's pathetic. I mean, he plays bad at home, so that's not good, right? You got to be more. They thought they got Eli part 2. That's what they thought they got, right? But Eli, much as he gives you the stupid blank look and the Eli face, he's got. I mean, we know this now. He's got more substance to him. This guy has not shown enough, and that's why Dable the other night talking about how when Jones reacted the way he did after the 2-point conversion, like yelling at people. He was like, "That's good. I love that." They want to see more of that because what they want to see is, okay, you guys are on Hard Knocks talking about replacing me. Screw you guys. I'm going to show you. They haven't seen that.
No.
And I'm not saying the guy's got to change his personality, but like at some point that threat has got to spur you into. I'm going to shove it up your, you know what? And he hasn't done it. And so that little bit of passion is like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, maybe he does have we're 6, 7, 8 weeks into the season. Like, what's taking so long?
How about the kid Stevenson, man? That's still a great one too, dude. When he's yapping with the fans and the play's going on, like, I mean, these guys are. I would have lost my mind if one of my players did that.
Yeah. I mean, he did fall on a sword and apologize as quick as possible. So that helped the fallout with him. And
I would be like, dude, I don't care. Get out. Get away from me.
You got to come back and get a pick in your next game right away. Like, you got to have that moment. And if you do, your guys will rally behind you. You know, it's a nice little storyline if he does that. But yeah, that was like, how do you not know the ball's been not even like it was simultaneous. We're like, ball snapping. Oh, like it was snapped. They were running down. He's still.
And he's sprinting back to the
that's the Dante Jackson for the Steelers was waving bye to the Giants fans the other night after. They like to do that. They like to do the wave goodbye to because they're hearing stuff all game long and it's tough to listen to. So when you could do it back, but do it in between the plays, dude.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's still a great story though. The kid, Jaden Daniels, my God. Wow, what a great story. First of all, the kid played. Are you kidding me? That was impressive
Yeah.
that he played with the rib injury.
Yeah, and he's our question coming in was, is he big enough? Can he handle the pounding there? And so he got hurt, and then he plays that week, which is nice. He got toughness. You don't want to see this become a recurring thing now. Every time he gets hit in the open field, take your slides and all that stuff. But he's slight. Like even Lamar Jackson.
He's Devontae Smith slight.
Devontae Sticker. Like he is, dude. You see him in person?
I know. Yeah.
He is like he's a rail.
Yeah.
And I'm sure year 2, this will be an OTA storyline. Jaden Daniels putting on more weight.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, number one, it's either not true or he puts it on in the spring and then they lose it during the season, right? So he's just gonna have to play the way that he is and just try to stay out of harm's way as much as possible.
Yeah. So let me just ask you the back to Indy real quick. Steichen, and I don't want to ask you about the trade deadline. Steichen, Michael Pittman said he found out the quarterback change through social media. Is Steichen, what's going on with him? Is there any kind of buzz around him? Because
I think he's all right. I mean, listen, they're in the middle of a playoff push here, and Flacco's going to win games. They might make the playoffs. I mean, they're 4-4 now, right? And they're in a division where nobody's really playing well. I'm a little concerned about Houston after last night, to be honest with you.
Well,
I don't mean to start.
They had nobody, no line, no Diggs, no Nico. That's
Nico's
tough.
coming back, which helps, but I'm a little like last night. That did not look like a smooth operation at all. And credit to the Jets defense. We know they're good and they can play really well in spots. But like last night was a hold on a second. Is this what we're going to see the rest of the way from the Texans?
Yeah.
Particularly offensively. So anyway, but
they couldn't throw the ball. Like they couldn't block. It was amazing because Mixon, was running all over them too.
And your tackles are highly like your tackles got to win, and they didn't win last night, which was uber disappointing if you're the Texans. I mean, I think Indy could still make the playoffs, and Shane will be fine. We'll see. I mean, you don't want to tie yourself to a quarterback that is going to. Potentially be the guy that you way overreach for. I mean, we see the upside. We see the spectacular plays.
Yeah.
One spectacular play and then 13 incompletions in your next 14 throws. Doesn't matter.
Right. That's where they go, give me 39-year-old Joe Flacco. I mean, that's it.
Give me a check down here and there, brother.
Hey, deadline coming up. What are you hearing? Anything? Any buzz?
Yeah. The big names are not going to go anywhere. We reported this last week. Max Crosby's not going to go anywhere. Myles Garrett, no chance. That's a franchise cornerstone. He ain't going anywhere. So you could see the Zadarius, I can't even say his name, Zadarius Smiths of the world, potentially on the move. DK Metcalf, I saw his name. He ain't going anywhere. Trust me, that ain't happening. So you could see some of these, and Deontay Johnson went early. We knew he was going to end up going. That could be a sneaky one for the Ravens. I mean, he could be a high volume guy at times. So I think with the Ravens, it's going to depend on week to week matchups, how they're played. Like, pick your poison. How do you want to defend us?
I gotta tell you, I know, man, that's scary. Because look at their receiving core. The Ravens are nasty, man.
I love Zay Flowers,
and
so do I.
And I know it's like, Lamar, that style of play doesn't win in the playoffs. It might this year.
Oh, I agree. Listen. I think I think the 3 best teams in Detroit are in the AFC because I do love Buffalo, and Kansas City is just Kansas City. So there's some fun. They're going to be incredible. The AFC, the top is awesome.
Hey, Mike, I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a renaissance there in Kansas City. You're starting to see it, but I think you're really going to see it.
Yes.
Like you hear it, I've seen rumblings on different reports. Bryce Young maybe being moved for like a 4th rounder. You hear anything about that?
I don't know. I don't know that happens this year. They still believe like they want to get him, back on the right path. I think he's done there. I think there's just I don't see a future in which he all of a sudden recast. I mean, who knows who the next coaching staff is if they move on, if it's another one and done there. But I just don't see a path there for him. So that feels more like a off-season type deal, traded around the draft, maybe even the start of free agency, something like that. But that poor kid, he never had a shot there.
No, I agree. What do you got going on, man? Where are we going to follow you, and what do you got cooking?
Sunday we're getting the band back together. Steve Smith and I used to do a.
Yeah, you guys are great together.
Yeah, he's great. You know, when you're working with Steve, it's just keep the car on the road, right? You know, I can be Lou Costello from time to time, but I could also be Bud Abbott. You know, so it's you got to morph who you are with who you. So I'll be the straight man when I'm with Steve. But anyway, we're together on Sunday morning at the Giants Commanders game at MetLife Stadium. So I'm looking forward to that. A lot of times you cover a game, you're by yourself. We got the bus just let out there. What's going on behind you?
We got all kinds. We moved to studio. We have. How about this?
Hey, look at these guys.
So we have with us. This is awesome, right? Philly Sports Trips is hosting the UK Eagles fans. All right. So we have a bunch of guys coming in from England and Ireland and Scotland. It's all the UK Eagles fans that are coming in. I love these guys. They're awesome, man. Isn't it cool?
Yeah. They've been known to. Man, listen, it's 5 o'clock there. You know, might as well.
They got beers. I'm sure they got beers somewhere.
They got whiskeys. It looks like they got whiskey.
I love it, man. Look at it's fantastic. This is the great Mike Garafolo, right? NFL Network. Oh, this is unbelievable.
Hello.
Oh, this is the best. Look at this. Eagles. Yeah, this is unbelievable. So this is a Lock and Lomond, a single malt scotch.
Nice.
Right? It's limited edition British and Irish Eagles. How cool is that? This is I love these guys. They're the best, man. It's fantastic. This is awesome.
Come bearing gifts. That's beautiful.
I mean, listen, they're gentlemen, man. Are you kidding me? And ladies, they're beautiful, man. We love it. We got cheesesteaks coming from Shays. Hey, listen to me, Mike. Come here, Judge. Only in Philadelphia, right? Look, hey, Mike, look at this, right? Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, Pride of South Philadelphia. Give me back to Mike for a second. So, Mike, get Mike back on the screen. Judge Scott has started this incredible cheesesteak place called Shays. He's a Philadelphia judge, all right, who is now making cheesesteaks from South Philly.
Look at that.
Yeah, right there. You put it on, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Cooking with a gavel. I love it.
Come between us.
Only in Philadelphia do you get a judge who's making cheesesteaks. All right?
Your Honor.
Good morning.
I'm honored.
Mike is fantastic. Mike's a Pride of South Philly working for NFL Network, Judge.
How you doing, sir?
Are you kidding me?
I'm
making
doing great, Your
cheesesteaks.
Honor.
Isn't it great, Mike?
That's great, man. I should have been a judge.
They already have their
Call you Your
cheesesteaks.
Honor.
Cuz, look, everybody's got a cheesesteak.
I love it. I love it. This is fantastic. We'll talk more in a minute.
Yes, sir.
I had to introduce you to Mike, the judge. All right? This is the best.
may I
Only
approach
Philadelphia
the
we
bench?
have a judge making steaks, right? Shays
Beautiful.
cheesesteaks. They're made out of Wagyu beef, right? How about that? It's a $30 cheesesteak, Mike.
Hold on. How much are they?
It's like a $30 cheesesteak. It's outrageous. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to splurge.
Gourmet
you know?
steak. Yeah, it's a
Mike's used to it. It's New York prices.
Melts in your
It's a
mouth.
true steak. Yeah. Everybody's smiling. It's fantastic. Mike, we love you, brother. You're the best. You're my main.
Cheerio.
We said, because Andrew does a very good Irish. His family's from Ireland.
Maybe not to them.
And he does a good Irish.
Maybe to us Americans, but not to them.
And we said, listen, don't do the accent, because he does an Irish accent and an English accent, all right, and a British accent. I go, do not do the accent when our friends are here, all right? Please, that we don't want to get embarrassed.
Hear it, I promise.
We don't want to get embarrassed. Hey, give us a second, and I'm very excited too, because Dr. Matthew Pepe from Rothman is going to join us in just a moment. So very excited about that. We want to visit with all of our friends coming up. We got the judge with the cheesesteak. We got all kinds of things.
2-foot cheesesteak.
Yeah, the judge
I think
doesn't
it's
play
massive.
around. Judge DeClaudio He does not play around. He's tremendous. Hey, I do want to tell you about Parks Casino. We talk about having fun. And guys, I don't know what you're going to be doing maybe tonight. You want to go up to Parks, enjoy yourself, which is incredible. Parks Casino, Street Road, Bensalem, Pennsylvania's #1 casino, located off, again, the Street Road exit off of 95 and the PA Turnpike. It's just a place to be. It really is fantastic. So this is what's going on. We tell you all about the acts that they have, the Excite Center, which is a 1,500-seat, really intimate venue for some of the best comedian and musical acts. Just announced comedian Ron White headlines March 21st. He's hysterical. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains on February 8th.
Here they come to snuff the rooster. Oh, yeah.
Actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm, January 24th. Tonight, in fact, Invincible, tribute to Michael Jackson.
There's fire in their eyes and their words are really clear. So beat it. Just beat it.
November 14th, Ezra, Ray Hart, the lead singers from Sugar Ray, Better Than Ezra, and Tonic joined together for an incredible night.
If you could only see the way she loves me, maybe you'd understand.
This November 16th, Bret Michaels.
Every rose has its thorn. Mm-hmm.
December 14th, comedian Eric D'Alessandro. Enjoy dinner and drinks, Liberty Bell Gastropub, Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House. Go to parks.com for parkscasino.com for all things Parks. This is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, if you're in the mood, if you're in the world of home remodeling and looking for some deck work, bathroom work, and flooring, check out our friends over at CJM Construction. Their goal is strictly to help clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. They're currently running a sale on their CoreLogic luxury vinyl plank flooring. Prices are starting at $2.49 per square foot, with savings up to 35% off retail. Taxes and fees are extra. CoreLogic is 100% waterproof and formaldehyde-free, which is important if you got little ones or pets. CoreLogic is durable flooring with no less than a 20 mil wear layer and an overall plank thickness of 5 millimeters. So it's going to last you a while. Be sure to mention PHLY when you call in, 856-329-2933, about your next home project, and see their full selection of luxury vinyl plank flooring and learn more about the products and warranties on their website, cjamconstruction.com/flooring.
All right, good stuff, my brother. Hey, coming up, I want to get to Liam and Phil from the group. I see the guys over here to tell us all about this incredible group we have here that we're hosting, Eagles fans from across the pond. We love having you guys, man. You're a part of the flock, man. This is awesome. We'll talk to the judge. We got Baldy coming up. But every Friday, we get to visit because we're weekend warriors, and we love to talk about all of our aches and pains and our injuries and how to ward against them. Yeah. All right, because I'm fascinated by injuries when it comes to sports because I have a million of them. Right, knees and Achilles and elbows and shoulders, and I'm still trying because I was throwing to Massimo and my shoulder. Yeah, I was throwing them. And I think I threw myself out.
A little rotator.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Moss was like, I need to throw because we were working on some catch and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think so. Anyway, every week we're joined by the great doctors from the Rothman Institute. Rothman Orthopedics is fantastic. All right. I tell you, they saved my Achilles. They've saved many body parts. And joining us right now is Dr. Matthew Pepe. Doc, how are you, buddy? What do you say, Doc?
How are you?
So first of all, I got to tell you, last week we had Dr. Salvo on, right?
Yes.
And he said, listen, he goes, you're going to love next week. He goes, first of all, he goes, I'm a Sicilian, all right? He goes, I got a Regal guy coming next week. Dr. Pepe is an incredible Napolitan. He's an amazing Napolitan. So not only are you a brilliant doctor specializing in shoulder and elbow and knees, but you're a great Napolitan as well.
Thank you.
Hey, which were you? Just curious. What where'd you grow up, and what drew you to this field? I'm so fascinated by you guys because you change people's lives. I say it all the time about angels, right? Because giving people the gift of walking and running and playing the stuff they love to play is giving a huge gift that we didn't have in the past.
Well, I mean, we've made a lot of advances, right, in sports medicine. I mean, you see these guys, they get back on the field fairly predictably, right, the pros. So our advances have been incredible. I grew up fairly athletic, playing sports. Grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, so I'm an Eagles fan. I've always been an Eagles fan. And to me, to take care of the team was a dream. It was great to get into it, and I always wanted to take care of athletes. And as a physician, it's satisfying to watch these patients, their players, and their patients, and to see them get back and play is something that it's incredible.
What did you play? What was your sport?
I played baseball, football growing up, some soccer.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. I love the fact that, and you do a lot of elbow and shoulder work. And how much did you pitch, by the way?
No, I did not pitch. No, I played third base when I played baseball.
There you go. Did you?
My arm isn't great. I saw you over there wiggling your shoulder.
Oh my! I have a 12-year-old travel player, so I'm constantly. Plus, he plays quarterback. So I mean, all I do is throw. We throw 5-6 days a week, and so I woke up this morning because we threw a little bit yesterday. I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh man, I can feel it. As I'm doing my rotator cuff, I can feel the creak. Go, oh man! How do you get that extension back? Oh God!
You got to work on it. You got to stretch.
I love it. What do you? What fascinates you, by the way? Because you specialize in shoulder, in elbow, and in knees. So that joint work. What fascinates you about repairing these joints?
Well, I mean, personally, doing orthopedic surgery is it's like carpentry, really, in one sense, right? So you're operating on a joint, you're tying things together, you're suturing, you're putting screws in, we're putting plates in sometimes. So to me, I like that almost that feedback, that tactile feedback of doing something, fixing something or reconstructing something, right? To me, that's what I like about orthopedic surgery.
Well, listen, you found in your ancestors, right? The great carpenters of Italy.
Stonemasons. Yeah.
Right? I mean, you think about it when it comes to that. It's the same vein. Let's talk about, and again, every time we bring up an injury from a professional athlete, we always want to tell people that the doctors aren't their doctor. So, again, this is all about injury and kind of understanding what the injuries are. So we talked about the Texans earlier and Stephon Diggs, who's out with an ACL. And I've had that ACL and I've had cartilage. Explain the difference. Like when you're thinking about the medial collateral ligament, which is your MCL, and your PCL, which sometimes in the back sometimes can go. So if you can explain the difference to everybody, because look, there's a lot of us out there that have bad knees.
Right. So the ACL and the PCL are two different injuries. Occasionally we see them both together when a knee is blown out and dislocates. But in the sports world, we typically see one or the other. So Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. I did pull up the video last night. It was a non-contact injury, right? He was going out for a route. He made a cut, and his knee gave out on him, which is 60%, 70% of the time. That's what happens.
Yep.
There's no hit. There's no tackle or and unfortunately, sometimes the body goes one way and pivots over the knee, and the ACL tears. Frequently, that happens with an MCL tear, the medial collateral ligament. They sometimes happen together. Occasionally, we have to fix the medial collateral ligament. Now, the ACL is the ligament in the inside of the knee, right? It's a cruciate ligament, so it basically crosses the PCL. And the ACL is responsible for the stability of the tibia coming anterior and rotating. So an athlete that tears an ACL, obviously to get back to athletics needs surgery for it, as you know. So we reconstruct that typically with an autograft from the patient. We take a strip of the patella tendon, we drill holes, we fix the patella tendon in the area where the ACL goes, and the body grows into that ACL graft and makes a new ligament out of it. And typical return to play is 9 to 10 months in the NFL.
Yeah. It's amazing when you think of it. It used to be a death knell, right? It used to be to an athlete, that and the Achilles, man, that was it. Like your career was over. And now we see guys get back, within a year. It's just incredible, the advances now that you guys have that can save careers.
Yeah. And they get back fairly routinely. You rarely see a player that can't get back after an ACL. Now, the first season, they're never typically 100%, right? When they get back, they don't trust it fully, but they always take a tick down in performance. But these guys are so athletic and so gifted that they tend to overcome that and do well athletically. And
Doc, how much is the brain at play here? Like when you think about, because you see guys coming back from Tommy John, right? And it's the same thing. Like you don't know if you trust it. Like it takes a while. You bring up the ACL, and guys that have that kind of speed. How much is the brain to overcome that fear of trusting the repair?
It's a huge part of it. And the athletic trainers and the strength and conditioning staff for the team are a major part of that. And it's repetitive training, it's recovery, it's conditioning, it's restoring that athletic ability. And they all play a major part. And it's repetition. The player has to do position drills, sport-specific drills, and get back to their activities, and they learn to trust it. But you're right. I mean, they can get, if you golf, you know what the yips are, right?
Yeah.
And they can happen. And they overcome that with the athletic training staff of the team.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. But Doug Pederson coming to town, I'm sure you're an Eagles fan. That Super Bowl meant a lot, man. That was again the memory of all memories for all of us.
Oh, fantastic. I'll tell you. Chills. Still get chills.
Where were you?
I was there. I was on the sideline.
You were actually on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I knew you were. I didn't know you were actually on the sidelines. That's amazing.
I was one of the assistant docs. Yeah, back then.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. So I know you have a fond memories of Doug, who's coming back into town.
Oh, he's going to get a cheesesteak, Doug. You bet.
Doc, did you get a ring?
I have a ring, yeah. I have an NFC
ring. That's fantastic, great. Man. You're the best, Doc. What a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
The great Dr. Matthew Pepe.
He's all right.
I thought you got a ring. I mean, you kidding me? That's fantastic.
Where were you? Just on the sidelines.
Like how great is that? You guys are in a treat, right? Because we have a great international figure. You guys know who Baldy is? You know who Brian Baldinger is? Oh, the guys know.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows Baldy.
He's an international man.
Baldy.
Everybody, it's amazing, right? Because everybody, England, Ireland, the judge, everybody knows Baldy. The one, the only Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football.
Oh, Baldy. There he is. Baldy. First of all, you're in for a treat. Do me a favor. Liam and Phil, just come up here just for a second because I want you guys to meet Baldy. We have an incredible group from England and Ireland, right?
All right.
Who have come in across the pond to root on the Eagles. They're part of the crew. All right. Yep. How about it? Say a little Baldy.
Hey, what's Baldy, up, guys? There we go. I love it.
This is fantastic. We're going to visit with the guys a little bit. But yesterday in Nassau County, in Long
Oh,
Island
yeah.
was Brian Baldinger Day.
Nice.
Now, I don't
Yeah.
know how.
Baldy.
I didn't know about this. All right. Do we have the picture? Look
Yeah.
at this. It's National Baldy Day. We got there it is. All
Love
right.
it.
It's unbelievable. You didn't tell me about it, dude. I had to
Yeah.
find this out.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. The county commissioner, Nassau County is a heavily, densely populated county. There's two counties Long Island, Nassau County, Suffolk County. I'm from Massapequa. It's on the South Shore. We're a town of about 120,000 people, but there's a lot of towns that big in Nassau County. Anyways, the county commissioner, which is basically their governor, okay, is a guy named Bruce Blakeman. And he has been selecting one person a month to sort of honor that has accomplished certain things in their careers, their lives, whatever. Adam Schefter is being, honored. I think he might have already been honored, but like in different walks. It could be medical, sports, whatever. So yesterday they decided that it was going to not just Halloween. Halloween's for everybody, but in Nassau County it was Halloween and Brian Baldinger Day. So I went up. I met with the county commissioner, Bruce Blakeman, great guy, really great guy. And we had a nice conversation for about 30 minutes. Then I went into this room with all these county executives that work, in the program, probably 200 people. So he said a few words. I spoke I spoke for like 10 or 15 minutes. I had a bunch of friends come up and sort of join us. And then we broke away. We just had a lunch and we were just shooting the breeze. And so it was like a couple hours. It was really a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, we got to celebrate Baldy Day.
Baldy, did you ad-lib that speech? Did you work on a speech?
No, I don't work on speeches. I just ad lib. Because you know why? Nobody wants a prepared speech, okay? And every speech should be, you should look at the audience and you should feel with the audience who they are. And then based on who's in the room, then you tell them what's in your heart. And you just give them 10, 15 minutes. And so I saw the people that were there. I recognized a few people here and there out of the room. And I just, I just gave it to them. I told him I was a military brat. My dad was in the Marine Corps, Naval, and all that stuff. So we moved around. But when we came to Long Island, he was working for the FAA out at Kennedy Airport. And I tell this, and I know we're in Philly here, but once you live in New York, you become a New Yorker. So, the Yankees just died the day before. Everybody was in mourning. I was heading to the Jets right after I finished everything to do a bunch of stuff for the pregame and stuff for the NFL Network and the Jets pregame. And so I was hoping that maybe the Jets could lift their spirits after such a disappointing World Series loss.
Well, it worked. Be Baldy and the Jets. It worked.
He's got his Jets shirt on now.
Yeah, he's all happy of it. Coming up, when you come home for Baldy Day, I got Judge, because only in Philadelphia, right? Judge Scott, right? He has this, in honor of his parents, that have a place in South Philadelphia called Shays. This is the steak.
That's the biggest hoagie I've ever seen.
That's a cheesesteak.
Thing's massive.
Right?
I never seen
Cheesesteak
anything
made with Wagyu beef. Now, you're a beefsman.
I am a beef
Oh, look at his eyes rolled back in his head.
So, listen, Judge Scott, man, he's unbelievable. Judge Scott DeClaudio, he unbelievable. Judge, where's this Shays at? Where's the address? 16th and Race. All right?
Okay.
So when you come back, we got to get you one of these steaks. All right?
I gotta stop in and get that. That looks like
Wagyu beef, dude. This thing's outrageous. Can't wait to tear it up. It's outrageous. The guys, are you guys eating? Eat. You guys gotta eat. Come on. All right, so let's get this Sunday.
Hey, real quick, with the guy from Ireland right there, I gotta tell him. I was on tour with Billy Joel one year, right? In Ireland, he's Billy Joel, right? So Billy Joel is in concert in Dublin. So I'm over there with 8 knuckleheads, right? So, anyways, we're the eight of us are in Dublin for this concert. Billy puts on a great show, but we got a week in Ireland, right? So we figure we can't cover all of Ireland in a week. So we split up. 4 of us went south to Cork, right? And 4 of us went west to Galway, right? So when you go west to Galway, I went to Galway. We stopped in every town. Every town has a steeple and, it has a castle. A steeple and a castle in every town, right? And a pub. So we stopped in literally every town on the way to Galway. We were in no rush, right? So we stopped in every pub. We had a pint in every pub all the way to Galway, 4 days over there and back. And then we came back to Dublin and we all met up and we exchanged stories. And it was a phenomenal way to do it. Because if you go to Ireland, you don't go to Galway, you're out of your minds. The cliffs at Galway are one of the most beautiful things on all of Earth. Like it's just phenomenal to see when you get to the West Coast.
Yeah, Galway and Cork are beautiful places in Ireland. Dublin, which is where I'm from, I was a city boy, but if you really want to enjoy Ireland, you need to get out into the countryside. The scenery, the Atlantic Ocean, the seas, the waves. The pubs are amazing. My granddad's from Prosperity Square in Cork City, so I'm a Cork boy at heart.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It is such the natural beauty of it is just striking, right? I mean, just.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Scotland's the same, and we've got people here from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. So there's a joke there somewhere.
Oh, that's fantastic. How did you guys and Phil? I want to talk to you too. How did you guys start your club?
Yeah, so we started it in lockdown.
Forgive me.
Oh, no worries. We started in lockdown basically because we realized there was a big UK NFL community, but there wasn't really an Eagles podcast. So 3 of us at the time, Mick, Phil, and myself, someone from Scotland, England, and Ireland, again, there's a joke there somewhere, decided we start a podcast on the Saturday, and on the Sunday, we recorded our first show. That then grew to having fans and people who come along to watch-alongs in the UK. So we do watch-alongs at Passyunk Avenue. It's a Philly bar in London.
We love it, Passyunk Avenue.
Yeah, and we do trips to Philly now with Philly Sports Trips. And it's been growing and growing, and we absolutely love it. There's a huge fan base out there. I think we've got like 5,000 followers on Twitter. UK Phillies guys like 22,000. So
wow,
yeah, it's growing, and all teams as well. Like not just Philly. There's all teams are huge over there.
Well, Baldy was at the forefront, right, of the European movement because the World League of Football. Baldy was the lead analyst, right, Baldy?
Yeah. 10 years. 10
We've
years
seen you
we
on
went
Sky
over
Sports
to,
every week, Baldy, over there. So we're used to seeing you on TV.
in fact, Sky Sports just hit me up yesterday, wanting to know if I could do some pregame with Neil Reynolds for the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game in a couple of weeks and the San Francisco-Tampa game. I'm like, whatever Sky wants, I'm in. Like, those people have been fantastic to me.
We'll have to get you on the British and Irish Eagles podcast then, Baldy.
Let's go. Just hit me up.
See Fraser give him his accent.
No, there's no way.
Fraser's got a.
There's no way I can talk like that. There is absolutely no way.
But you see, there are different types of accents in Ireland, right? So if you're a Cork boy, you talk like this all the time. Say you're in Northern Ireland, it's a bit more high pitched, and if you're Dublin, it's a bit more like rough and ready.
Wow,
rough and ready.
What's his?
It's not really an Irish accent.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to do it.
Baldy, let's talk about Sunday because the guys are here for Sunday, and this is the perfect kind of team. I mean, the Eagles should be able to score. They should at least put on a show for our friends here from across the pond.
Well, Jacksonville's having trouble stopping anybody defensively right now. Offensively, like Brian Thomas Jr. is a star. He's a stud. He's a star, the rookie at LSU. But they finished the game last week against Green Bay, a very winnable game. Their top 3 receivers, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, were all out. So Trevor Lawrence is throwing to like backups to backups. So they've really struggled. They had a chance to beat Green Bay last week in Jacksonville. They came up short. But defensively, I mean, I would think AJ and Devontae are going to eat. Their corners are not very good. They're not good in the secondary. If you can block up, Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, you got a chance to, score a lot of points against that defense.
Yeah, I guess they're talking about Thomas. It's a possibility that he could play. He's a stud. I mean, we loved him coming out of college.
Well, he's so smooth. He's a route runner. Like he's so smooth after the catch. He makes everything look easy, but his movement is. I mean, he's the best rookie receiver. I mean, Malik Neighbors is good, but to me, Brian Thomas has been the star of this rookie wide receiver class right now.
Yeah, no, they are fantastic. By the way, I would love to thank our diehards, all right? All your diehards out there, thanks for PHLY. You guys follow us at all PHLY? And,
absolutely.
You know, so we appreciate you guys,
There's
man.
a lot of people in the UK watching in to this show this morning, so shout out to UK 6.
Do you know
as well.
Sam? You know Sam?
Yep.
Yeah, our buddy Sam.
He's been commenting.
Yeah.
He's been commenting in the chat there.
Yeah, he told me to tell everybody I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. So thanks to our diehards. We really appreciate you. All right, Baldy. So you feel good, right? Like Eagles, where they stand right now at 5-2, should be on their way to 6-2. What's your 50,000-foot assessment right now going into Sunday?
Well, I mean, I think they win their 4th in a row, and they're on a collision course, to see Washington real soon, and that will be for first place.
Dallas and Washington's coming up, man.
Yep. So, they got the division games coming up. They always count almost for 2. But they're getting right at the right time. I broke something down yesterday. 10 of the top teams with the best records in the league right now, starting with the Eagles. The Eagles are running it 55% of the time. That's the most in the league, right? And so, and a big part of it is they really kind of adjusted the offense to the play-action pass last week. They got the touchdown to Devontae off play-action. They got some big shots to A.J. And what that does to Jalen is it really gets him into a rhythm. Play-action, whether it's 5-step or 7-step drops, like he's hitting his back step, he's hitching, and the ball's out of his hands. And he didn't hold the ball. Now, he only attempted 20 passes last week. But nonetheless, that's the formula right now. Right behind him are Washington, 53%, Detroit, 52%. San Francisco, Kansas City are all 50-50. That's the trend in this league right now, is to really run the ball, to get them out of their cover 2, to get them single high, to get them man-to-man. And the good teams with the best records are all doing that right now.
Baltimore, Baltimore, and then you get Deontay Johnson. I mean, my God, this is wow. I mean, the 3 teams in the AFC fascinate me because Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City are incredible. That AFC is really interesting. NFC is fascinating. Eagles in the mix. Of course, Detroit is at the top, but still, the teams are separating themselves.
Well, it's going to be – so we have a huge show on Monday because the trade deadline is Tuesday, November 5th. I know it's also another big day for a lot of people, but it's a trade deadline in the NFL. And so, it's an arms race right now. Baltimore gets Deontay. Kansas City gets DeAndre. What are the Eagles going to do? What are the 49ers going to do? Because I believe both teams need to make a move by the trade deadline because – it's going to be, and it'll be just even Arizona might make a move. They're 4-4. They're in it. So the teams that are in it right now, what can you do without giving up a ton of assets to improve the team? If I was the Eagles right now, if I could go get Jadeveon Clowney out of Carolina, I believe somebody's going to get him. He's still a great effort player.
That's a good move.
The city would go wild on Clowney.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's playing on a terrible team. He was part of the number 1 defense in football in Baltimore last year. Everybody in Baltimore will tell you, they miss him badly right now. I just think you have to, this. We're going to see a lot of moves being made, come Monday, about players plucking good players off bad teams, and teams are out of it right now. And they're going to try. Carolina wants the assets for the future. They're going to need a quarterback. Go find good players for bad teams.
Yeah, I love that. The new thing now in the NFL, which is, let's go pillage and let's make trades come deadline. That's the hot stove of baseball is now in the NFL, which I think is awesome.
I love that word pillage because that's kind of what you're doing. You know, just go pillage these teams right now. Just see what you got to make the phone call and see what they're willing to give up and what the compensation is.
Yeah, definitely. Where you at this weekend? Which game you at?
Right in South Philly, cuz. Jacksonville.
Nice.
Go see Doug P. let the fans, celebrate Doug P and what he did here. He's moved on, but when you win a Super Bowl, you can never take it away. So everybody that was responsible for that team, you make sure that you appreciate them.
No, I was saying this, right? Listen, we all know Doug's struggling. He's probably not going to. He'll probably get let go after the season. This is a good spot for him to come in and you celebrate an old friend that won. He was the coach of their only Super Bowl. We think about all the bloodletting over the years, and the GOAT, like Dick Vermeil, was a great coach. Andy Reid is among he and Belichick might be the two GOATs of the league. But Dougie's the one who won it.
Yep, no doubt. Look, prior to Doug winning it, the billboards were still covered with Dick Vermeil's pictures in posters and advertisements. And Dick's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
Like he earned his walk into Canton. But he was celebrated for coming up short. Doug is the guy that brought it home. And they they knocked off the Patriots and Belichick and Brady to do it. So, I just think, he should still have a free big cheesesteak anytime he comes to Philly.
Yeah, I'm with from Shays. I'm with you. Hey, real quick, because we haven't talked about it. It's a great game. Detroit Green Bay on Sunday. How do you assess this one? This is a monster game in the league. We haven't really talked about. What are you thinking?
Well, look, if you just looked on the surface last week, Detroit put up 52 points on Tennessee, and you're like, oh, they're just better than everybody else. But they gave up 300 yards of offense in the first half. I'm not impressed by Detroit's defense. And I just think, I don't know the status of Jordan Love right now. He didn't finish the game. Malik Willis finished, and he finished well. Green Bay leads this league in takeaways. They made a change at defensive coordinator. Jeff Hafley came in. Xavier McKinney leads the league in interceptions. His style of defense, I believe, is really going to be what's the future of this NFL. Press the damn receivers, challenge receivers to the line of scrimmage, have a rat in the middle of the field, force the ball to go to the middle of the field, any deflection, anything just go take, it's your ball. And so they're playing his style right now. 4-man rush, not a heavy blitz team, but make the quarterbacks and receivers really, truly beat you. I think Green Bay has a good shot at winning this game.
Yeah, well, that's going to be it. It's going to be a great game. And then Dallas, Atlanta, this is an Atlanta game, right? Or is Dallas done? What's the deal?
You never know what Atlanta's going to do. They're a little schizophrenic themselves. But Dallas coming off a bye. They're coming off a terrible loss to San Francisco. Their roster doesn't look very talented. When you start marching out Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott as your running backs, those guys had great days in this league, but they should be celebrated for what they have accomplished. But they're done. They just don't have. They still have a great roster, cuz I'm just thinking Atlanta is a much better roster right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, well, listen, my brother, always great to see you. We want to do our own Brian Baldinger Day in Philadelphia, all right, because we love you.
Thank you, man.
Have a great day on Sunday, and, of course, we'll be following you. We love you, buddy. Thanks, Baldy.
See you, buddy.
There he is, Baldy. Now, I told you guys, coming up, we're going to get into a little Penn State, Ohio State with our friend Adam Taliaferro. He's coming up shortly. But I was telling you about this is so cool that we have great visitors from across the pond, which is a lot of fun seeing the guys. So, Liam, we talked to Liam. Phil Mount Stevens, is that correct? Hello, Phil.
That is correct.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
So tell us about how you guys hooked up and you guys started this whole thing. This is so cool.
Well, like Liam said, during lockdown, a lot of us were just sort of feeling quite remote. We were brought together in a general NFL community, and everyone was starting podcasts at the time. So we said, well, there's no Eagles one out there, so why not just sit around and talk about the game from a British perspective, And it just kind of was a bit of fun for a little while, but it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Tell why you're an Eagles fan.
Well, I'm an Eagles fan because I'm ex-Navy, so I left a couple of years ago, and we were coming over for 3 months up and down the Eastern Seaboard to do a bit of training, and I was desperate to catch an NFL game. It could have been in any city, But every time we got alongside for sort of 4 or 5 days, the team was on the road. So I was gradually losing hope, and we were docked in Baltimore for their fleet week, and I'd almost given up. But then logistically, the desperation, I realised that Philadelphia is just not very far away. So I hired a car from the local airport, drove a few of my shipmates up with me, and we went to the Vikings game, which was the 2018 one, so just after the Super Bowl win. So I've kind of become an Eagles fan, and I missed the Super Bowl. But I've watched the highlights, and I've tried to relive as much of it as possible. But there's nothing like being there. So I've missed that. So 2022 was probably really heartbreaking for me, but for everyone as well. And so basically caught a game then. Came back to the UK, just started following the team more and more and more. And like I said, bumped into Leah, and we started doing the podcast. And then we took over the British and Irish Eagles, and it's just going from strength to strength to strength.
It's so cool. What is there tell us about the NFL fandom in the UK, and how is it split, and is it like, are there pubs that will show the games, and how's that? How do you guys commune to watch them?
So like Liam mentioned as well, Pashank Avenue has got a few branches all dotted over London. I think they're expanding to other areas of the UK in the future as well. So we try to congregate, or deliberately congregate, sort of a couple of times a season, specifically bring about 40 to 50 people down to London. And we watch the games. We watched the 2022 Super Bowl. There was about 500 people, I think, at Pashank that night. And we do that a couple of times a year. People are there all the time. Like much of the group, there's always photos going in. Like I'm in Pashank this weekend, so there's people there all the time. And generally, like it's because we don't have the tribalism of being from Philadelphia and other teams that they support. They're not from the areas. There is a community that's a little more friendlier than maybe it is in America.
It makes sense. Yeah.
So we have the London NFL games. There's 3 games a year. There's a couple they're expanding that in Europe, other places in Europe as well. And you tends to be more of a festival atmosphere. Everyone's together. There's a little bit of rivalry, but because we're not from the area, we can sort of be quite.
But you guys can relate because of soccer, right? Because of your football, you guys can relate to the tribalism. I mean, of understanding how Eagles and Cowboys, right? Like
up the ranks. I mean, you guys are on different. They separate you at the stadiums, right?
Yeah, you can't drink in the stadiums. There's away fans separated by lines of stewards and police in certain games, and in the real sort of heated games, they can get quite nasty. But but like I said, it's because we're all from. You really in the UK, you support where you're from most of the time. I mean, I'm a Manchester United fan, so I'm an exception to the rule. But
listen, you support where you're from. That goes back to the 4-for-4 landscape. I talk about this all the time. It's where you're from. You root for your team. That's what it is. Civic pride. You can't just go, well, I'm a Chiefs fan, right? When you're from Philadelphia or you have a team, because now you're a front runner.
Yeah, the idea of like teams just uprooting and moving to different cities is completely alien to us. It's happened sort of once in one team in the UK, and it didn't go down very well. And it's because it's a very working class sport, it is over here. It's heart and soul of the town. So people, you're from that town, you support
Civic
that
pride,
town. Exactly,
man.
yeah, that's pride.
It helps the community. It's what it's about. That's why I love the connection of it, man. I just think connect, and I think it's so cool. I know this is your second time Philly Sports Trips does those events where they bring people in. I know Vince and everybody brings people. It's so cool that you guys all came in. What do you guys think of Philadelphia? Like, are you enjoying it, or what do you think?
The guys absolutely love it. We brought people over last year for the trip, like you said, and we put Vince and Philly Sports Trips put on an amazing show for the guys. And this year we've gone again above and beyond. We're off to the Hall of Fame lunch shortly after this. And there's so many things packed in. It's sort of, we're worried that they're not going to have enough free time just to wander around and experience the city. So it's trying to find that right balance of trips. But the guys, there's people put out, where should I go? And there's already enough knowledge in the UK fan base to tell people where to go because people are over all the time. It's little tidbits. There's UK Phillies, I think, is doing sort of a general Phillies tour vlog to sort of help people when they come over. Just watch his videos, and you'll find out everything you need to know.
You could just send him here, and then we'll shout. Guys, gather around so you're on TV. You're on the show.
Don't be shy.
We want to see you guys. Everybody wants to see all you guys, man. This is so cool.
Can I ask?
I love it.
What do you guys do for like a primetime game at 8 o'clock? Is there any gathering over there?
It's unusual for us to get together at 1 o'clock in the morning and watch a game. Those are usually done from the safety of your own home with a long nap early in the evening to try and get up for it. But depending on work schedules get shifted around, or people saying I've got the day off, or I've made sure all my meetings are in the afternoon, because it's sort of the games end at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And it's a tough slog, especially when the Eagles last season were in a lot more primetime games. It just does become more of a you have to plan your life around it.
You get excited about the 1 p.m. games here.
Yeah, it's 1 p.m.
It makes sense. We hate it, me and Anthony, but you guys love it.
I mean, watching it in the sunshine, it's not as exciting as watching a night game, but for us, a night game means being up in the early hours of the morning. So it's sort of, it's that give and take.
That's so cool, man. I love the flag. Let's show the flag. That's really cool, man.
It's an awesome
I love
flag.
On the football with the British flag, the English flag, and the Irish flag. It's fantastic, man. Who came up with that? That's really cool.
Well, we took over the British Irish Eagles from a guy called Anthony, and he was Anthony was the one who had the logo created at the time. We've kept it because it is pretty cool.
That's fantastic. I love it. So what do you? Hey, Judge, come over here, Judge. What did you think of the cheesesteaks, guys? This is shit. So he's a judge. Now, he doesn't wear a white wig like in England. Yeah. What did you guys think of the judge's cheesesteaks?
Well, they're so good that my friend over here has already had 2 breakfasts, and he's now demolished the cheesecake as well. So.
Then you got the fork and scrape up the rest of the plate.
I'll ask you, Judge. Tell us how you start, because he's a literal judge in Philadelphia. Tell people exactly what your real job is, and then how you started Shays.
Wife started Shays, to be specific, but I'm a homicide judge in Philly. 10 years. I do all post-conviction relief. But we had a place called Shays 50 years ago because South Philly, 5th and Wolf, had it for 25 years. Cheesesteaks, hoagies, ice cream, newspapers, jukebox, people dancing in the store, video games. And it was the greatest time of my life, 25 years. High school, college, law school, it's community, right? That's what you've been talking about. That's what you've been talking about since you've been on the air. It's unbelievable, the sense of community we have in South Philly.
If we get in trouble this weekend, so you're going to sort us out?
No, absolutely not. But you can come into the store, my treat. We will feed you, and you will walk out with smiles. And the bottom line is, I've been telling my wife these stories for 15 years, and the place opened up in our building. She said, I want to recreate Shays. I've heard all these great stories, all your friends. And we opened the restaurant 6 months ago. We started with 36 rolls, my wife did. And this weekend we did 50 dozen.
Wow, nice.
We did over 600 a day. It's been people from all over the world. They have to come in. We have this map on the wall, Gus, and we've had every country in the world come in, and you put a pin in your map in your city. It's the most amazing thing. Look at it, Shays Philadelphia on Instagram. Thank you for having us in. Thank you for letting me share my wife's vision. I'm a support role, and I just walk around shaking hands, doing shots. We'll do shots. I have a big thing of Tito's. I'll have you sing a song.
We got Irish and Scottish here, so
Dude,
shots sounds
come
great.
on in. We'll sing all night long. And what we love, so we live right above the restaurant, Cuz, and if somebody comes in, I'm talking, you might have like
16th and Orange.
16th and Race. And I'll say, where are you from? They're like, Dallas. I'm like, everybody, Dallas. And we go, boo! And my wife calls. I'm like, what's up, honey? Who you booing now? She didn't hear it from the second floor. It's a true story.
I will say one thing. Like when Phil was saying there isn't tribalism in the UK, I'm not sure that's entirely true on the NFL. Like we hate Dallas with a passion. And the Giants. I mean, Washington haven't been very good recently, but we're gonna have to start.
Now we're
hating
going
them
to start
soon,
hating
too.
them. That's right.
Yeah.
I want to get a chant. All right, this is a true chant. I want to hear a chant from you guys. You lead the way, buddy.
All right, we go for it. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight.
Score a touchdown, 1, 2.
1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch those Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Are you ready? E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Wow, that was awesome. Great Great job, everybody. You guys were fantastic. My God, amazing stuff. Hey, we got a treat because there's another big game, college football, guys, and it's Penn State, Ohio State. So this is a big battle. It's a big game. Number 3 in the country versus number 4, and we prefer Penn State, Pennsylvania. And joining us is one of the greats. He is Mr. Nittany Lion, dear friend Adam Taliaferro. Hello, Adam. Good morning. We have all the people from England and Ireland and Scotland and Wales here.
Hey, cuz, man, you got to bring him over to Swedesboro, man. That's going to be a stop.
Adam and I are you look great, man. By the way, that's a great looking hoodie right there you got. You look fantastic.
We got to represent the boys today. You know, it's big weekend ahead, man. Big weekend ahead.
It is. And first, how do you? I actually love them. I think they have a really good chance. Now, again, we'll find out about Aller, but I thought Bo came in last week and played well. And I think this Ohio State team is vulnerable.
And I got to admit, every year I pick Penn State to beat the Buckeyes. We've only won one time in 10 years. And I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not always, I'm a little bit biased. But this year, I wholeheartedly, to your point, Ant, I think we got the horses. We got a lot of things going in our favor. And I think our boys, they've just been finding ways to win throughout this entire year. And this Ohio State team, hey, they're talented, but you look at their schedule, they haven't really been tested. They went out to Oregon and lost by 1. They probably should have won that game. But you look at the game last week, Matt Rule and the boys gave them a struggle.
They did. You saw that offensive line. You can pressure Howard, man. Listen, they got great playmakers. We know that. But you can pressure that. You can get them and force them into mistakes.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That Ohio State offensive line is a big, big question mark. I was just looking at some of the stats this morning. Ohio State they got these 2 fantastic backs in Judkins and Travion Henderson. Neither of them have run for over 100 yards since week 3 of the season. And to your point, they got Howard who's running all over the place. But that Ohio State's offensive line is where they're vulnerable at.
Yeah, you could see it. You could totally see it. How do you look at it from the Penn State offense? Now, obviously, it depends on who the quarterback is, but let's take both scenarios.
Yeah, I think either way. I think our boy Al is going to be playing this weekend. So, from that standpoint, I think he's really got to, distribute the ball. And the biggest thing from the offensive side of the ball is just don't turn the ball over. Let's not make any silly mistakes early in the game. And let's get Singleton and Kaytron Allen, our 2 sets of running backs. Let's get them going early in the game. I think that's been our recipe for success, is keeping the ball on the ground. As opposed to the Ohio State offensive line. Penn State's offensive line has really been doing well this season, and our ground game has really been working for us. I say let's pound that ball, make Ohio State prove that they can stop us on the ground before we start putting it up.
Yeah, I like that. I got give a primer, if you would, Adam. A guy like VG, right? Like who's just getting into college football.
Go Vols!
Like, come on.
There you go. We talked about that.
Come on, bro.
I'm all in. We are Penn State this week.
There you go, VG.
So give a VG a little scouting report, because nobody knows this team like you do. A little scouting report on both sides of the football.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, Drew Aller, who's he's a top-rated quarterback coming out of high school. Learned his way last year as a junior. He's been fantastic. Doesn't turn the ball over a lot. The offense is going to run through him. We got 2 great running backs, Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen, who are probably 2 outside of Ohio State, probably the 2 best running back tandem in the country. Those, and most importantly, Tyler Warren, who's our all-everything tight end, who
is terrific.
So those guys are going to really be leading the way on the offensive side of the ball. You go over to the defensive side of the ball. We got Abdul Carter, who's second-team All-American last year. He played linebacker for us last year. Is now playing defensive end. His hand is in the ground. So you got him coming off the edge. But, Penn State from a linebacker standpoint, we're linebacker you for a reason. So we got some dogs back there. But our secondary has really been surprisingly leading the way. We got Jalen Reed at safety, who had a huge play last week to return an interception for a touchdown. So the thing is that our depth has really been fantastic this year. So names that many of us probably haven't heard before have really been stepping up because we have been dealing with some injuries. But overall, I just really like this squad. I like the direction that they're going in. And we got 2 new coordinators coming in this year. So we got Tom Allen on the defensive side of the ball. He's coached at Indiana for years, came over to Penn State. And we got Andy Koltonecki coming from Kansas, who has really transformed the offense and has done a great job calling the games this year. So
yeah, they had a really good offense, a very interesting offense that real creative. And you see the Penn State offense; it's different. It's a different feel
Not
to this.
what I remember from as a kid.
Well,
Yeah,
definitely not that. But I'm talking about recent history.
You'll see offensive linemen going in motion. You'll see all types of exotic formations, and it's been really fun to watch.
Hey, for also someone who's never been to Happy Valley, don't know much about this culture that people love. Like, what's game day, early morning going to be like out there this weekend?
Oh man, it's and I think I'm still on the fence right now, but I think we're making a trip out there tomorrow. So it's especially this time of year, you get that 60-degree weather, that brisk early morning. You come and going to the Penn State, there's only really one way in and one way out. You come in, you come over the hill, you see hundreds of thousands of RVs in these farm fields, and you see the flags all over the place. It's one of these things I just wish everyone could experience in person because it's hard to really put into words unless you've been there. You're going to walk into the stadium tomorrow. You're going to see all white. They call for the real official whiteout is next week against Washington, but the coaches call for an unofficial whiteout. So tomorrow, everyone will be wearing white. You'll see the band, the pageantry. You'll see the guys come in on the blue buses. It's a fantastic, fun experience, and we got to make the trip. We got to do a live remote at some point.
We got to do it. We got to do that. I can't wait to recreate it in the film that we're going to do. All right, in your story, we're going to recreate that whole pageantry leading up to it. I could see it.
I love it, man. It's one of I tell people all the time. It's just they call it Happy Valley for a reason.
Yeah,
it's one of these places where you go there and you just get immersed. Even if you didn't go to Penn State, you just get immersed in this atmosphere, and it's just one of the best experiences you ever experienced.
What's this mean for Franklin this game?
It's huge. We were just talking about this last week. I think it's more for Franklin than even the players because thankfully Penn State loses this game. If something crazy happens, we lose.
Yeah, they're still involved in the playoffs. Yeah, they're still going to make it.
But when Franklin, if every time they highlight his stats against top 25 teams, against top 10 teams,
yep.
And he'll be the first one to tell you it's not the greatest. So I think winning this game will really help alleviate some of those Franklin critics that we all hear of.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a huge game for him. We know what kind of recruiter, what kind of coach, what kind of steward of the program. He's had so much success. But this is it now. You have a team. You look at the landscape of college football. Never been as this much parity in college football. It's a big deal. It's a big game.
Oh, it's huge. And I'm sure, Coach Franklin is trying to tell his boys to play like any other game. But for Coach, the players read the media just like everyone else. So I'm sure they want to win this for Coach as well because they know, hey, I always say I'm biased. Coach has been great to me. He's a great guy, man. And, we just struggled with some of the Ohio States and the Michigans of the world. But I think, like I said, I think this is the game where they can really turn all that around.
Yeah, I'm with you. My brother, it's so good to see you as always.
Yes.
Give him the lion.
Okay, can I get the roar?
He's pulling.
There it is.
There you go, brother. There you go. Adam Taliaferro. Go Penn State, brother. You're the man, baby.
Great to see you guys as always.
There he is. We love him. He's Mr. Nittany Lion.
Great energy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. What's that?
We got a phone call.
A phone call?
We got a caller.
Who do we got?
The one, the only, Black Gritty.
What's up, PG? He's all bathed in Kelly Green.
Oh, my bad. I was ice cream for Doug. Mint green for the.
Oh, you got the Carmichael jersey on too? Nice, bro.
Hey, real G's. Real G's. You know what I mean? Podcast coming soon. Real G's. Mine's a little bit more snug than yours is. You know what I mean? Yours is loose. I'm game fit. You know what I mean? I keep mine game tight. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody grab up on your boy.
No
you know
holding
what I'm
on
saying?
BG.
I keep mine game tight.
That's fabulous. That's absolutely fabulous.
So y'all had the British invasion over there. I picked the wrong Friday to come hang out. Y'all got the $80,000 cheesesteaks from the judge. Boy, I got to go down there to Shady's. I picked the wrong day. But just let me get into it. Shout out to Dougie P. Give me one of the best days of my life besides having my child and being born myself. He gave me a Super Bowl victory. So I went from Doug negative. It was a clipboard holder to, hey, this guy's pretty okay. Doug neutral. I didn't hate him. And then he won a Super Bowl. If I see you, Doug Pederson, in life, you ain't never got to pay for nothing. If I can't afford it, I'll steal it for you. Because you did so much for me, for us, for all of us. I watched the Super Bowl with my buddy in South Philly, and his father passed, my father passed. And I'm not ashamed to say, when we won that game, we looked at each other, we looked up, and we hugged and we cried, bro. Like wishing our dads could be there with us to see it. And Doug Pederson always got a spot in my heart. I don't care where he go. I don't care what he do. I'm lying. He got an alibi with me, dog. That's all I'm saying. But come Sunday, Dougie, Doug, you gonna get whooped up on Sunday. They're gonna give you a little tribute video, and that's about it. Cause Shady's gonna be in the house. There's gonna be a lot of juice on that field, and you know what I mean. Shady, you know what I mean. Get out. Hey, it's just a good weekend for them people to come across the pond. George Washington crossed the Delaware, and these guys crossed the Atlantic to get a George W. Because we get one on Sunday. Because I don't care what nobody say. We're going to be throwing these bombs to AJ and Smitty. Their defense is trash. Doug doesn't like his QB, and they got all these other Quinyon the Don's gonna lock whoever down. The young phenom they got over there, I don't care what his name is. He gonna have Quinyon on his backside all game long. So again, shout out to you, Dougie P. With my mint cream ice cream. Always ice cream for you, Doug. But today it's Go Birds!
Black Gritty, baby. Always bringing it every Friday. We love him. He's fantastic. All right, before we get out of here, our Rite Aid back in the day moment is Kelly Green. So I'll just give you the Kelly Green, but I can't get out of here without hearing the thing. Back.
You want to hear the thing? You want to hear the, yeah.
Come on, again.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid.
There it is.
Yeah.
This is the Kelly Green. It's Harold Carmichael. It's Violations Greg. And that is our live back in the day Rite Aid moment. Look at this.
That's a beautiful jersey.
It is a great jersey.
I love that jersey.
It's fantastic. Couple things, and then we're out. I got to thank you, first of all, for doing a hell of a job.
Hell yeah, Frazier.
I mean, nothing, dude. Fantastic, great show. You know what I mean?
I had some help behind the scenes
here.
here.
Where's Julie at? Jules, come here. Thank you. Thanks for hanging. Julia Hoff, our head of the production. Such a great job. Alexis, come here. So our fine intern, unofficial intern, Alexis. Chris, where you at, Chris? Get in here, Chris.
Alexis. Nice work.
All right.
She was here early.
Judge, you are the best, Judge DeClaudio. All right? We love you, buddy.
This man works for us. He said he's been listening to you.
Come here.
Going back to Delaware, he says, him and his dad listen to you for
I thought he was part of the British invasion.
Chris behind you.
Good job, buddy. Good to see you, man.
His mother's a judge.
Chris, one of our keen photographers and production people, is fantastic. Chris, great job, buddy.
Nice work
We
with the
appreciate
handheld.
it. Everybody, that's going to do it. Have a great weekend, man. A lot of fun as always. And go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. See you on Monday morning.
We all silly like the mayor.